are here, everybody. Hey, Ian. It's early, and we're streaming. I thought I might just drop us all into the big abyss of streaming live. Thought we'd do it a bit early today. A little bit early. You've still got the frame rate.
I've still got the frame rate problem. Yeah, and
the
I've
max
changed
headroom.
browsers. I've changed to Chrome because
it won't be your browser. No, it won't be your browser.
I might go back to my old camera actually.
Well, it could be that, or maybe you've got the resolution too high, or you might have the frame rate set too high. Yeah, you can muck around with the settings.
Let me have a look.
Ian is on Steam power.
Yeah,
according to Kent.
Hello, Kent.
I'm guessing you guys can hear us in chat. Check 1 2. It's coming through loud on my side, so it should be okay. Everyone was hearing the music, so it should be working. Cool. Everyone's saying yep. Awesome. Yeah, thought we'd start a little early because it's nice to see. What you guys don't see is when the guys jump in and they're like, "Oh, it's my mic working," and it's not really exciting stuff, but I thought, why not? It's 10 minutes early. You guys can see it. Then you'll know it's nothing really special happening before the show starts. It's just basically us going, is our mics working? Do I sound alright? Is my camera okay? And then we start the show. Exciting, isn't it? I've just completely ruined all their beliefs now. They probably thought we were having some pre-show party before.
Yeah.
I have seen the start of PSN, Kent, because I've been on it many moons ago. That's back in the day when Chris and Ben were doing it. That's how long ago it's been since I've been on that show. So yeah, cool. Well, I mean, we'll just wait for the rest to turn up, I guess, because Andy probably hasn't even got out of bed, to be fair.
No,
I have noticed the last couple of weeks I have been popping a bit on the pop filter. So I'm just going to move my... Does that get it? Are you still getting the pop? It's not too bad, is it?
It's not too bad, no.
Okay, good. I'll
be messing around with this, actually, trying to make it...
Well, maybe I should move it back a bit. There we go. That's probably better. Or maybe I don't know. Well, I don't know what I'm doing. Don't expect professionals here, guys. That's all I will say. Do I look a bit dark? Probably.
You do look a little bit dark. I mean, I've been messing around trying to find some camera settings, and I can't find any for this camera. For next week, I'm going to change back to my old camera because my old camera was fine.
Let's see if buttons work. So Chatties are working. Hooray! Yep, and it's current. Yep. According to me, the last message was human error. Yep, that's good. That's showing. That's refreshed.
Yeah, pretty well. True.
Dead Men Walking, Synchrotron. See, it's just cutting off a little tiny bit down the bottom. Maybe I might fix that. What is that? That's back doing that. Position. It's the pan Y. Yeah, there we go. Pan Y. So if I bring that up, you can see the actual screen. So it's no different to what you guys have in your chat. If I just pull that just to there, that should be perfection now. Let's try that. And then, hey, and okay, so what happens now is every time I reload the chat window, it comes up to welcome to live chat. I hate that. It's annoying. There's nothing I can do about it. So if I don't do that, the chat will go stagnant because the Chrome browser plugin inside this vMix software times itself out to save memory. Otherwise, this thing would crash. Hey, Andy. We're actually streaming, by the way. So you can say hi to everyone.
I saw the live. Yeah, how you doing? I saw the live on YouTube.
Hi, Andy.
Just thought I'd give them all a bit of an early show.
No worries.
I'm getting double triggers on. It's interesting effect, double triggers. So you can hear me going one hit, right?
Yeah.
But you hear it going twice. Getting double triggers. God knows why. I could get.
I'm going to change my camera because this is annoying now.
Double triggers on
So
what?
I'll
What are
have-
you gonna...
It's MIDI going from Ableton to my FH2, and I'm just for some reason I'm getting double triggers on it.
Weird.
It's going into the math module, so it's probably something that I've done wrong in maths. There's no cycle turned on though. Do I have a close up of math? So if I hit, so you can see just here down the bottom right hand corner where my finger is, right? You can see the trigger light up. See that? So you can see gate on. I'm holding it down. I let it go, gate off, right? But you'll hear it trigger on the gate on and trigger on the gate off. Do you see that? So I'm pushing down on the keyboard. You'll hear it trigger. Letting go, and you'll hear it trigger again. So that's where I'm getting the double trigger. And the math module is just up there. In fact, I've got my cool pointy thing. So that trigger is going into there. Straight from the FH2.
That's old-timey lecture style.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it's doing that, and I probably don't really care, to be fair. But what's interesting, though, is if you do this, and you put the cycle on, right? You get some really cool effects. It's just infinite fun, that maths module, isn't it? We're still 4 minutes before the show starts.
Need to use my mouths more. It's just sitting around most of the time.
There's Daren, and there's Chris. Chris has got the OBS Studio logo. Guys, we're streaming already.
I gather. Hello.
We're streaming.
Hello.
So everyone has now seen what it's like when they join the show. So now you get to see it. I've just given them something different.
Cool.
So my
behind the
camera
curtain.
is now slightly more fuzzy, but at least I'm not max
Let's have a look.
headroom. What was
Did you
that?
change cameras, did you?
I've changed cameras, yeah. So
that is absolutely perfect to me.
it is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
wouldn't say it's fuzzy either. I'd say it's
All
perfect.
right, that's good then.
Yeah.
That's good.
Great. So much for the new, better camera, which wasn't new and better.
Well, it might be. It's just
What
that
you on now, then?
it's probably just set to too high setting. That's probably it's on 4K
Yeah.
or something stupid.
And I can't see it. It's a Logitech was the other camera. This is I don't know, some Chinese brand thing.
They're
that
all
I bought.
Chinese. They're all Chinese.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. But it's an unknown. We should call it an unknown Chinese brand rather than a known one. But hey ho. Anyway,
I tell you what,
I will look at the other one.
stay
at
away
some
from
point,
social
literally.
media because it's a laugh a minute for me because I mean we here we've all been around the shop a few more times than most people in this world, and especially these young kids out there who like to, I don't know, take the P155 out of the world. But the latest video that I saw, I actually was in tears with laughter. This guy was dead serious. He's saying, if you take your battery out of the phone, we can still hear you. There's chips in your phone.
It's the same guys who put that little mesh inside your phone. It's supposed to improve your quality of your signal. Remember that?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Little
remember
sticker
them.
you put in
Yes.
the back of your phone.
Yeah, I
Bullshit.
I know. I actually
5G.
bought one of those, not to use it, just because it
5G
was something like
yes.
$2 in Hong Kong. I couldn't believe it actually existed, so I bought one. Still got it in a plastic bag.
And 5G encouraged the spread of COVID. Yeah, of course.
Well,
Oh,
actually,
we know that.
the next video that I watched. See, I need to stay away from social media because it was just so hilarious. That was, and the next video I watched was this guy cooking sausage rolls with 5G.
Yeah.
I was already in tears with laughter already. It was just so stupid.
Just another day in a modern world.
By the way, people, I'm just no panic or anything, but this is the future world that's going to look after the society when they get older.
And
They're going to be the
moon landing was
next
fake and all that. Yeah.
They're going to be
All
the
that
next
great
prime
stuff.
ministers and presidents.
Well, the issue is that hopefully they're in the minority.
Keep open.
yeah, I am hoping. Yeah.
Yep. It was entertaining me, put it that way. Okay, we can start the show. Hey, all right, here we go. I'll change the track this time. Actually, I think it should already automatically change. Let's see. Here we go. Starting the show. Hey, welcome to another episode of Synth Geekery 253. I didn't even look this time because for some reason this week my memory seems to be working. Well, for now anyway. Maybe in 5 minutes' time I'll forget what I just said. How is everyone? How's your synths going? Have you plugged them in? Have you turned them on? Have you pressed record? If you haven't, please go do that right now. We'll wait for you. Oh, you're ready? Okay, cool. Anyway, let's say hello to everybody. Hooray!
Hello.
I failed on the first mission.
What to say hello?
I haven't plugged a synth in this week. No, that's not true. I'll tell you later.
This person next to me is
I
Daren.
tried,
Daren,
in
put your
fact.
hand up. Just so they know who you are. Oh, even next to Daren. Daren, point to Andy. Andy, put your hand up. Hey. Below me is Ian. Ian, put your hand up. Next to Ian, point to Chris. Put your hand up, Chris. All right, now everyone in chat, put your hand up. We can see you. You should see the screen I have here. It's like mission control. I've got screens everywhere. I can see everyone. Remember what I was saying before about that special chip?
Yeah.
On your phone.
And it cooks sausage rolls as well.
And sausage rolls. Everyone.
No, that's the little inbuilt nuclear reactor that they put in every phone that they haven't told us all.
Brilliant. Anyway, it's lovely to have you all here. There's a growing amount of people joining the channel. As it is every week, it's a boutique show. It's not getting 1 million views like some of these other stupid shows, like cooking sausage rolls. Because we're probably doing stuff that's more real. So hopefully you guys can stick around and enjoy
Next
it.
time we are going to start cooking sausage rolls whilst we're on the show.
Yeah. Actually, we should turn it into a cooking show, shouldn't we?
We should.
Yeah.
We should. It'd
Pretzel,
be
yeah,
interesting.
Does that help?
It probably
Trumpets
does.
all over it.
We could set some hot plates up on a synths and see if we can get people's OCDs to go crazy.
Or, I mean, we do roast a few products on this show.
Oh,
So,
Yeah.
you can smell it burning
kind
already.
of cooking, yes.
There'll be some
Roasts.
heat elements a bit later. Let me tell you. Tell you. Anyway, let's say hello to the chatties because we haven't really done a good hello to all the chatties for a couple of weeks. So I thought I might before there's 1 million of you jumping in. Andy Synchrotron, you can wear the yellow Guernsey this week because you first. So well done, mate. Run around like a crazy man with your hands in the air. You're first.
He did a great show this morning. I managed to catch it for first time in a while. It was really good.
well, I watched Andy's show on the replay. They're really good.
Yeah,
Sean is next. Big hello to Sean. And I should mention, by the way, that some of these guys that we're talking about here are good supporters of my channel, like Patreons and channel members and things like that, but just regulars as well. So it's it's good enough for me. If that's all you can manage, and that is a pat on the back from me anyway. Human Error is there with the first synth icon next to his name, so you guys can see that he's a channel member. Big thanks to you, Human Error. Neil Wharton's there. New Precision is there. Paul Holmes, KV5, Cresthead. Big hello to Kent Spong, another one of our channel members, and we all know who Kent Spong is. Big hello to you, matey. Who else we got? We got Half God, Half Beast. We got George. He said his regards from Spain. So is it Ola? It is Ola, isn't it? From Spain, Ola. I forget. My Spanish is bad. Keith and Watford's there. No one's backing me up here. I'm literally train wrecking myself. JP Page 2 is also here. And I believe I did see Failed Muso and James. Big hello to you guys. Deadman Walking's here. Who else? Homegrown. There you go. Dr. Synth. Manny's there. Awesome. And I'm scrolling. Exorb's there. Big hello. And I think we're kind of getting towards the... Did I say hello to Future World Machines? I can't remember. But if I didn't, big hello to you. And I think we're kind of there. If I've missed anyone out, like Matt Brown, or Man with Beard, or Mac, or David, I haven't missed anyone out. Hooray! Right, that'll do. I was thinking, because a lot of the news stuff at the moment is a little bit on the light side, we might be able to squeeze a bit of time in today. And maybe this can be a sort of a regular thing whilst we do have light news, if that makes sense, where what we could do is each one of us could play a track, not each week, just one person each week, because I don't think we'll have enough time. And then we can dissect that, or get the person who's playing that track to dissect it, and go through the different instruments they've used, patches, choices, some of the techniques they've used. And I mean, if you don't have to give away your techniques if you don't want to, it's up to you what you want to share with the world.
The secrets. No, I think it's a really good idea.
Yeah, I mean, you can always stick the gaffer tape over the synth name like most people do. But it's completely up to you guys. And I thought that might be interesting. It's because it's supposed to be a synthy show, so what we'll try and do is get it to be more about the synth side of it as opposed to the music side of it, music composing side as such. Because to be fair, most of the music composing stuff will probably go over my head, even though I did make it to 4th grade in piano when I was a kid. And I did do music at school, but it's a long time ago. So there.
I could never get the hang of them
I just hit
lines
keys
with
till it sounds good.
Yeah, Daren and me are like this.
Until it
I'm not
sounds
far
valid.
behind. I'm not far
all
behind
valid.
because I was a
Yeah.
drummer, so of course I do bash the keys.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So let us know in chat if that is interesting for you guys, that we should do that, and let us know if you're completely against the idea. We'll take positive and negative any day of the week. So yeah, and if you guys are interested, we may even be able to fire one off this week. I could probably start with Ableton already going here anyway. Right. We're going to say hello to everyone, starting with Daren. Put you on the spot, Daren. How you going?
You've not put me on the spot because I've not been in the studio. Well, I'll tell a lie, I have been in the studio. I downloaded what I sent you. So thanks for that, Ranzee.
No worries.
It shows you that there's not... When you listen to that, there's not actually that much in that track, really, when you think about it, when it's split into...
It's really empty, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it doesn't sound like that when you listen to the actual track.
Don't the vocals sound really freaky on their own? Like they're spooky sounding.
Yes, it's the very... It shows you what having separate parts of a track does, and then when it's all put together, it's completely different. Because the drums and the bass in that track is like virtually non-existent.
Yep.
More or less. And yet when you listen to the whole song and the whole track, it feels like there's drums, bass, everything's going on. It sounds quite interesting. So thanks for that. I've just started working on it. My plans have slightly changed because obviously when it's stripped down and you hear it, you think, might not be quite the same as I was expecting. But other than that, yeah, thanks for that. I never know, I might even send you one or two more because it's quite interesting.
Yeah, go for it.
But other than that, yes, I've been doing other things. I've not been in the studio, so I've not had time to do anything else other than that. I'm going to have to drop out of this and come back in because for some reason it's like stop motion watching myself and all you lot.
It's not their end.
It's not on the iPad.
And it's not our end either. But yeah, by all means, definitely do that if it makes it better.
I'll drop out and come back in because it's freeze phrasing every 10 seconds.
All right, do you want to do that now?
Yeah, so I'll do it in a sec, yeah. So other than releasing the track, me and Ted did, it was a week ago now, won't it? It'll be 2 weeks ago. Anyway.
The joint thing, yep.
Yeah, so that's basically, the joint thing. So basically, I've not done much in the studio. It's been quite a quiet studio session this week. But the things are afoot, so that's all you need to know. I'm going to drop out, come back in. So
awesome.
We'll leave it over to you.
Cheers, Darren. All right, next is Andy. Hey. He's back at home.
How's it going? Yeah, just had a nice, pretty good sleep. Still need more, but I might look a little worse for wear, so apologize for that. But got some sleep.
You look lovely.
Gee, thanks.
When did you actually get back?
I got back Monday morning.
Okay.
But it was a red-eye flight. I didn't sleep, so Monday was gone. I pretty much slept all day. So I wrote off Monday completely. And the time change. It's only 3 hours, but it makes a difference. So I was a little goofy for a couple of days, but no, I had a lot of fun. In fact, I'm uploading more videos soon. So if you guys didn't catch my Living Dead weekend coverage, there's a bunch of local ones I shot that because of signal I had to shoot locally. Haven't uploaded yet, so more to come. Also did a show with Eddie yesterday, another 6 oscillators thing. It was a week late because he had some tech issues. He couldn't do it while I was gone, so we did it yesterday. So you can go check that out if you're interested in guitar, keytar, synth-tar, hybrid stuff. And not much else other than more hardware jam stuff coming. I've been uploading some stuff, just messing around with mastering stuff with my rudimentary skills in Ozone and some other stuff, and putting tracks up on Bandcamp. I think I put this in last time I was on the show, but I don't remember. So here's the link to the Bandcamp. Very kind to purchase some stuff. I didn't have to, but I really appreciate it. So I've got a 4th track in there that's hidden right now. I have to unlock it today, but so far there's four total on there. So check it out if you like. Thank you very much.
And please put the link into Eddie's.
Eddie's. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, that one. Yeah. Let me do that one. We'll do that. But great to be here as usual. Thanks.
Brilliant. Awesome. Who's next? Ian. Hooray.
Hey. Good day, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good night. As usual. Busy week this week, actually. Started by doing my accounts. So I'm expecting I'm waiting for my corporate tax bill to turn up, which we all should pay our taxes, people. I had a practice on Monday afternoon with the alt country guy, and I've decided it's not for me. Nice guy, but we had a good afternoon, good old natter, but actually it didn't really fire my boat, if I'm honest. But I did have a meeting with a hip-hop female singer on Thursday, and I'm probably going to be putting her an EP out at least. She was really good. Sold my Polygon tracker. That's gone.
Yay.
So, yay. And I spent off and on all through the week. I've been, I set up my IK Multimedia Arc Studio, which I have to say is incredible, really. Makes a big difference. There are still issues in the room, mainly because of the guitars on the wall here. And you can hear them sort of resonating a bit. So I need to fix that somehow. Plus, there's a big metal heater down there, which is also creating a sort of some sort of standing wave thing going on.
You could
really.
probably just put a bit of felt under the strings.
I do. I was looking at that as an option, or a bit of sock or something.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's 8 guitars, so I need to get rid of a couple anyway. I don't need them all. But yeah, so that's why I've put this over it at the moment, which isn't doing anything really, if I'm honest. It's not fixing the problem.
Yeah.
So I've got that to solve that, and I have been mastering the digital version of this, which I started. I just realised I'm putting a video out on Monday about how I've been working on this, and I've been working on this for a year, or I started it a year ago. Anyway, the album will be out in the next 6 weeks. I think we'll say the next 6 weeks before I go off to Edinburgh. Is the plan to put that out? Really, it might not be to everybody's taste. There is synths on there. There's one of them. There's my original 700 on there, and organ and piano, but it's 80s power pop band stuff. So, like I say, it won't be to everybody's taste, but the songs are really good. Gary, who wrote the songs, is a really good songwriter. So I'll be putting some tracks out on that soon enough, really. So a busy week,
Yeah.
But,
How you going with your new space now? Because you look like you're a bit more settled in.
I'm liking it a lot, actually. Yeah, it's great. I want to actually get down to doing some proper music in it. But I've sort of been clearing out other jobs the last 2 or 3 weeks. So the dance production job was finally finished, and I sent her the bill early this week. There's other little things that I've been hanging around for months. So yeah, I feel very settled. And actually, studio's good. The house is great. Actually, we've got guests arriving tomorrow for 3 days. Jane's dad's coming over and her sister, which is nice. So we can accommodate guests now, which is quite cool. Properly.
Lovely.
So, it's great. I see living in Frome. I mean, Saturday night after the show, I went to quite an amazing evening. It was free, and it was above a pub, and it was an experimental. It was like an EMOM, but it wasn't an EMOM. There was 6 acts on. They all had sort of 20 minutes. But the guy who did the visuals was absolutely amazing, because he completely it looked like a cave to the actual room. This room. But he completely flooded all of the room with these visuals. In fact, he's done visuals for Tangerine Dream and other sort of quite big acts. And there he was in this sort of smallish pub with 20, 30 people doing these amazing visuals. And the music was really, really good.
So is he like a VJ, is he?
I didn't get to talk to him at the end. I was talking to other people who were performing, and we were having I was networking, which is not something I do very well. So when I go back again, which it's every couple of months, I will certainly have a word with him about his work, because his work's really, really good. Like I said, just above a small pub in Frome is this really amazing visuals and this really great experimental music.
Awesome. Fantastic. All right. We move on to Chris. Hey.
Hey. Hope everyone's well. I'm doing okay. I've had a bit of a crazy week. It's been our office vacation week. I wouldn't call it shutdown week. We actually officially shut down at the end of this month. But we have been instructed to now work from home for the remainder as we continue to support our client. So, that was a bit of a strange feeling leaving but we're all getting together at the end and having a big lunch and everything. So, kind of goodbye, but not goodbye kind of thing. But it's a little bit sad, but, I may have started welling up at some point, but I promise I didn't cry. So
new chapter for you, though, right?
Yeah, it is a new chapter. It is a new chapter for me. Full of new chapters. Apparently, I helped out a nice gentleman from Peterborough in the UK who was building one of my kits. We worked through some issues. He was a very nice man. He was very understanding, and we got to a good result in the end. So thanks to him. Thank you very much. Got another sale this week, so that's good. Sold another DIY kit, so I'm building that, and that'll be sent on Monday and all the good stuff. Still playing around with our phones here, working out how to enunciate the word. Doing that so yeah, so lots of fun.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah,
a lot of people who have bought this have said to me it's not the best vocoder that they've used.
I totally, yes, I know I've heard that said. It's like, it is kind of low, kind of crunchy.
Yeah.
But I like it. It's really gnarly. It's like, yeah, you do have to work it if you want to be understood. But if you don't really mind not being understood and you just go and find out what works, you try different things, you say different things, you muck around with the carrier, you just go and find sounds rather than actually deliberately, intentionally do something. So I guess it's that kind of instrument, but it's got such a character. It's bundles of character. I love it.
Awesome. Have you had a try with the envelope follower or anything like that yet?
I've done as much as I've actually plugged something into the envelope follower and had the LEDs light up, and then I've been looking at what parts of my voice actually trigger it, because it is interesting. It's not, it is that, in the digital realm, they would be, very, very responsive because they, fine tune it. Whereas this is in the analog realm, and you notice it. It's like it demands a really full, loud signal to really get the proper envelope out, the maximum level and all that kind of stuff. And if you just slightly move or you slightly, basically you kind of, probably to get the most out of the envelope, and you really need to feed it a heavily compressed signal, which is one of those things I'm probably going to try. So a bit of vocal processing before you put it in. Yeah, which of course it's happy to do. So, I haven't done a lot of work with that yet. And I was going to be putting the Pro 800 through it today when I couldn't find the bloody power supply for it. We've all been there, haven't we? I could not find it. It was one of those situations where I could find every other power supply for every other Behringer product I had. And I just couldn't work out where this one was. And I thought, I'm sure I left it plugged in, but there was just no wall it's plugged into any holes.
You know what it looks like?
No.
Okay, would you like me to take a photo of mine?
No, you don't need to, because I did eventually find it.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I found it because it's not a normal wall that plugs directly into the wall. It's one of those ones that has on a kettle plug or a figure 8 plug. And once I worked out that it was one of those, I traced it and went, oh, here it is.
Yeah.
And it was just sitting there with its thing waiting for me to plug it in. It's like,
Yep.
So, yeah, and then I ran out of time and it's time for the show.
I'm actually glad it's not a wall wart.
Yes, no, it needs, because it's actually interesting. It uses more power than most of the other Behringer products. It uses 1200 milliamps rather than 1000. So I think they had to go up to a different size, different type of power supply.
Yeah.
But I actually do prefer those power supplies because they're easier to sort of put out of the way, and they don't accidentally fall out.
Yeah, and they don't take up socket space either.
And they don't take up sockets. Yeah, they don't have the physical, take up all that room. Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
And as you can see, the glowworms are still in the background.
Indeed, Steve, we need to label our power supplies. I do that.
I do as well. The problem was I didn't label the cord that was going into the power supply, so I had no idea it was plugged in anyway. I've rectified that.
I say it more than I actually do it, so.
When I remember is what I was.
Best intentions, people. Best intentions.
Yeah, that's when I remember too. Yeah, I don't always do it.
All right, we should get cracking. By the way, if you do want to join the show, talkback calls are available. There's nobody sitting in Zoom right now. That's not it. That's not it. Why'd you go there? Hi. This is it. This is the Zoom call link. I actually haven't even pasted it, have I? I'll paste it.
Shame.
Yeah, well. I mean, it's not like people are dying to get into Zoom, are they? Let's be honest. Let's be honest with ourselves, people. There you go. It's pinned in chat. There's the Zoom link. If you do want to join us, there's the link there. Please do join us. I thought I'd mention too that we do have some Patreons and some channel members, so let's have a big thank you to those people. Oh, music stopped. Wonder why that is. It's a bit weird, isn't it? Dum da dum da dum dum. Dum da dum da dum dum. There we go.
I'm not too sure about this remix, for instance.
Not sure about it either. Music just weirdly stopped. But there you go. Thank you to all of those people. If you saw your name, there you go. If you didn't, you need to be on the list. Speaking being on lists, maybe you need to be on the meme of the week list. Let's try it. Yes, you are a bit of a nerd if you are thinking about the Emulator 2 when you're looking at this photograph. And if you don't know what this photograph is, then you're probably not a nerd. Hands up who doesn't know what this photograph is. Be honest. We all know what it is. Ah, dear.
Well, I'm waiting for the car to go out of it.
Slipping off the...
Cameron's
bricks.
dad's Ferrari. There we go. I like that one. That was good. I'm not leaving you because of your affair. I'm leaving you because you keep buying Behringer synths. Poor you. He's going to hate me now.
The first burn of the night.
He's a Behringer bro, right? That's the new term now, Behringer bro.
Yeah. The thing is, I'm not a Behringer hater because I own Behringer synths. So don't take this out on me. I didn't make this meme. Don't hate on me. Okay. This one was sent in by Robbie. It's, how do I set the washing machine? What are you washing? A t-shirt. What does it say on the t-shirt? Depeche Mode. Has anyone worked it out yet? I like it.
Yes.
Next. This one was sent in by Kent. The Synthsons.
Wow.
Does it come with a MIDI file?
What happens in the garage segment of that? Anyway, next. Our house in the middle of our street. There's a bit of a theme this week with bands. Next. Wife. Is that another new synth? Me. What do I choose? I won it in a raffle. I got a good deal on it. You look pretty this today.
Yeah, the last one. It's the only thing that's got a chance of working.
That's when you flood the entryway with the roses.
Yes.
Don't look over there. Look over here. Next.
A squirrel.
Love will terrace apartments in the Joy subdivision. I think this was good, this one.
Wow.
This is so good.
Very good, very good. Okay. And is that it? Yep, that's it. Favorite synth meme this week, people. There was 7 of them. Can you remember them all?
Terrace.
I like our house in the middle of our street.
That was pretty good. Let us know in chat what your favourite was this week, please. Synthsons. Madness. Yes. Yep. Synthsons. They're all liking it. You can't pick 2 people. Just pick one. If you're going to pick 2, you're going to have to pick one now. Come on, Brooksy, do better.
Discipline, come on.
Love will definitely tear us apart. Ooh, geez, what do you reckon's won it? Synthsons, maybe? I think the Synthsons might have got it by the nose. And Kent actually only just sent that in, like literally a couple of seconds before I was preparing all the memes. So, well done, Kent. Meme of the week for you. Awesome.
Well
Why don't we have some news? Hooray! There's a bit of news this week. Not a lot. But don't panic. It's nothing to be afraid of. It just means that you guys need to do some more music and not worry about buying gear for a little bit. But starting with Erica Synth, these guys are pumping out so many cool products at the moment. It's pretty amazing. Have you guys seen this? This is the Labor. It's a DIY synth creation platform. So if you're into electronics and you want to sort of fiddle around in that sort of realm and design your own synth, well, these guys have got kind of maybe something that'll get you started anyway. I'm not sure if this will kind of be for me and you, Chris, because we understand a little bit more about this stuff. This is probably more for the start out hobbyist, I guess you'd call it.
Agree.
So, and this also goes along the same lines as the Bullfrog product that they released. It's not by the same, I believe it's not by the same guy, but this has been in development in collaboration with Dr. Shalom D. Rubin, who is a teaching professor for the engineering section of the University of Colorado Labor. So this is a fully featured circuit design playground, according to Erica Synths. Powerful electronics learning tool, all in one, created with the aim of serving as a universal learning tool for electronics. What it's got is a built-in dual power supply, which is Eurorack compatible voltages, and with built-in overcurrent protection for safe experimenting, which I think is important. A modular interface which has 16 slots for potentiometers, jacks, and switches. A pulse triangle sine oscillator, which is an audio and LFO range. And that stuff is kind of up the top. You can see all the connections across the top there. It has multi-mode envelope generator with a premium push button. That's that big push button that you can see there.
See last week's show.
Yeah.
Cheap at the moment.
Buffered variable control voltage source, an output amplifier with variable gain, a dedicated headphone output with line level for recording and processing, analyzing the signal, an expansion slot for installing specialized prototyping tools, and a protective lid for the covering it all up once you've built it all and you want to sort of move it around. And there's two different versions of the kit. The cheap one is 170 euros. It's the basic kit, which includes the Labor itself, which is that, a power supply, jumper cables, and an array of interesting elements like pots, jacks, sockets, and switches. Or you can get the full kit, which is 195 euros. So it's only 25 euros more. You might as well get the full one, which has everything I just mentioned, but also it has commonly used components like resistors, capacitors, chips, transistors, so you can start building your stuff straight away. So if you've got that stuff already, you may not need the second kit, I guess. Anyway, this video. Let's go ahead and watch the video. I'm not going to watch all 4 minutes, but let's watch it.
No sound, Rants.
Still quiet. Are you scrambling to get the sound?
I know it won't have any sound because they've not started building the synth yet. That's probably why.
Well, there's narration
Yeah.
in it, right?
Yeah,
It's supposed to be narration here, so
we're definitely not getting the video sound. Don't think it's going out on the stream.
Can Ranzee hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's wrong?
All right.
There's no sound.
there's no narration.
Yeah.
You can't hear it.
Nah.
No,
No.
it's just
I
quiet.
don't think stream can. If you check the chatties, I think they would concur with that.
Oh, okay. No sound. Why is there no sound?
It's like art of noise. No sound, no new. No sound, no.
I can hear it. Let me just see what's going on here. So you guys can't hear that at all?
No.
Interesting.
Just a tiny bit in the background.
But you can hear that. Interesting. Technical issues. I don't know why there's no sound. But you could see the video, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We could probably hear it in your headphones because I assume that's what we could hear.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, I think I know what's going on. It looks like OBS Studio is not sending the desktop audio. Ooh, why is that? But I'm hearing it through here. Maybe if I add it through... Just let me find out. Just give me a sec, guys. I'm just going to find out why you guys can't hear it. But I can. Let's just try again. Okay, it's going through audio 7. Alright, let's try this. Audio 7. Audio 7, audio 7, where are you? There's so many audio channels on here, it's not funny, I've got to sort through them all. Alright, maybe I need to add audio 7 in. Let's try that. Okay, just give me a sec. I don't usually have to do this sort of stuff at the show. Is it...
It's all right because my end's still a bit... the sound's coming out perfect for what I can hear, but everyone's stop motion for some reason. And yet on the iPad it's fine, so...
These components are included in the full Labor kit.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Finally, we need both an audio signal to feed into the VCA and a control voltage to open it up. Normally, I'd use external gear here, but with Labor, we can save ourselves the headache. For the audio input, we'll simply grab the integrated oscillator. And for the control voltage, we'll use the envelope generator.
Yeah.
To listen to the VCA's output, we'll also need to amplify it. No need to set up additional circuitry for this, though. With Labor, we can simply take the VCA's output and send it to the integrated amplifier. Let's flip the power switch and... oh, looks like I created a short circuit somewhere. Thankfully, the power supply detected this and refused to turn on because of it. After fixing the short, it will turn on as expected. Since Labor's envelope generator is controlled by this mechanical push button, I can now press it to open our VCA.
Anyway, so you guys get the idea. It's a DIY synth. Plug a whole bunch of stuff in, muck around. I'm just looking at my audio interface list here, and it's offlined all of my ASIO channels. It's offline them all. So I need to go and work out why it's done that. And I have a feeling it's a Windows thing. You know when Windows updates drivers or doesn't update, or it sometimes renames stuff. And so that means this software can't find the device, and it's offlining it. So I'm going to have to go back and remap all the offline stuff because there's literally buttons and faders and stuff that I've got controlling the stuff. Anyway,
That's why
we'll
Windows
sort it out.
gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
Anyway, who likes this?
Updates for life.
Sorry about the technical issues.
How much is it, Rand?
€170 for the basic kit, €195 for the kit with a little bit more electronics.
You can do the software sort of version of this with two things. One is Max MSP, which does cost money, but also there's a thing called Pure Data, where you could do probably all of this and so much more in software. Now, if you wanted to do it with hardware or of a sort, then fine, but
it's aimed
I
at the
just think
hardware.
a better way would be.
It's aimed at the electronics people. That's where it's aimed. Yeah. Interesting how I think that the choice of design is kind of where I'm looking at. You know what made them feel they want to put the breadboard there, and there's this kind of big wrist plate below it.
It is interesting.
It's just an interesting sort of design.
It is. Everyone does it differently.
Yeah.
And you've got to make a decision, don't you? And what features do you add? It's such an opening up of a world, you know. It's a tough thing to... It's like making your first synth. If you had to, you know, if everyone had to buy a first synth from one manufacturer, you have a lot of responsibility on how to make that first synth, because it colours someone's experience for the rest of their lives, theoretically. And DIY is a bit the same. If your first experience with DIY is to release the magic smoke, I've heard of people who've just gone, "No, I'm not going back to it ever."
Yeah,
and you know, and I've had other people go, "I got through that. It was really tough, but it's really rewarding now that I've gotten through that." So you get all sorts of different personalities, and I think here they're trying to kind of drop that barrier to entry for people who are very, very unsure, don't have the confidence to, or just don't particularly like taking massive risks, which I can completely understand. The other thing is that it's very definitely aimed at modularists, so I think that's kind of the edge they're going for. I think they had to decide whether they're going to go down one route or the other, and I think they've gone, we'll lean towards the modular side people, because we think that they're probably the people who are saying, it'd be good if you guys had something, all this stuff I can get on AliExpress, but I don't know what to get and I don't know where to start. So I think if you're into, you've been playing with the real analog things and you've already got it in your mind that this is what I need to do. And when you think about it, as what Ian said, if you're just trying to create a synth, then you'd probably be looking at something like software, like he's talking about, Pure Data or Max MSP, or you'd be looking at, down the controller route with the microcontrollers and stuff like that, Arduinos and Daisy seeds and all that kind of stuff. You wouldn't really be looking here. I think as soon as you see if you've got a breadboard there, they're talking to a different audience. They're talking to an audience who are like, I really want to do the electronics. I really want to become part of that world. So I think it's fairly targeted towards that section of people. It's just if they definitely are the three options. You can either go electronics, go down software, or you can go down the sort of microcontroller route, or I guess they call that embedded systems, which is kind of a middle ground between those two worlds.
They're not the only people that have done this in the past.
No, that's the thing. It's weird because when I saw this, I thought, hey, this is really familiar.
ADAC systems.
That's the one I was thinking. That's the one I saw advertised. I think Fonka already selling that.
Not that old either. This one's pretty recent.
No.
And this one's
the
the
very
open.
small-scale Radio Shack had those kits in the 80s.
Yeah.
So
for me, I kind of like this more, personally. Because I don't know. Have you guys ever played with the Moog Werkstatt or the Volca modular? Right. So a lot of those sort of products have the the little pin wiring.
Point pins.
Yep. Into the breadboard, into the little patch bays that you see there, and this one does as well. And this is definitely something that's worth showing as an alternative. This is $304. So it's a little bit more expensive, but don't forget this is actually a eurorack module, so it goes straight into your modular
into the case. Yeah, that was,
into the case,
was
and
not a particular attractive to me because it take up all that rack space.
well, I mean, you could
I
put it
can't
in a
prefer the
4MS,
stopping.
put it in a 4MS standalone,
Podcase, yeah.
podcast.
Starts getting expensive.
You're looking
Yeah,
at
it's-
a Arduino-based platform on this one, so so you can actually do Arduino development with this as well, which I actually personally
That's
I find this more interesting personally. But there's nothing wrong with the Erica thing. It's just another take, and don't forget it's a collaboration project with the University of Colorado as well. So they probably have some specific requirements for this as well.
You also have simpler things if you want to just tinker, like the Electron. Have you seen that before?
Yeah,
It's like a guitar pedal with the little, you can put components in, or just like this little breadboard thing.
Yeah.
that's pretty cool too.
And
Yeah.
it's just it's very fun to play with. Yeah. So.
All right. What are the chatties saying? Do you want to give it a go, Chris? Just do a test for me.
Sorry.
You're a bit
What do you
quiet. According to Mac, you're a bit
Oh
quiet.
yes. I've turned myself up a bit. How's that? We'll see if that's better.
Sounds okay to me, but you probably could go up a bit.
Still,
Little bit. Yeah. Little bit.
Basta also had the Bit Ranger. Remember that one?
I don't remember the
Little
Bit
micro
Ranger.
leads.
Yeah, no, I don't remember that one.
It's where they built it with Casper Electronics.
Okay.
One of those little projects, and it's pretty fun actually.
All right. Next thing I want to show you guys is this. This is a screenshot from a video that I looked at today by a group of people called Retrolinear. Retrolinear have released a video where they have remade from reverse engineering the CS80 voice, and they've actually gone in. I haven't actually got permission to show or play their video, but what I'll do is I will show you snippets of the video as we go through. So on the right hand side here, you can see that's an actual CS80 voice card there, and the blue is their remake. Okay, and they're doing some testing. This is kind of like a test bench thing. But later on, he actually gets the CS80 out here, and he shows you that he's replaced all the voice cards. He's made 8 voice cards now, and he's put all the voice cards in his CS80, and he plays it, and this is what it sounds like. Not sure if that's actually a CS80. That may actually look like a CS60.
No, I don't.
Is that right?
60, isn't it?
Yeah. Anyway,
What says it's 60. Kent will know.
I don't think that's a CS80 now that I'm re-looking at it. When I
I
was
do know it because
briefly looking at the video earlier, I don't think it actually is. Anyway,
Kent's in conversation with these guys, I think, or he started a conversation with them because obviously he's very interested in.
yeah,
and
the,
he can
the
probably
fact that
pop
they're
in
making
and
voices. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyway, so that's interesting. Now, where they go with this is, you saw when I showed you that earlier part of the video, they actually made a couple of test modules as well, which interface into the voices. So they're probably looking at the entire sort of thing now. Maybe they might be able to recreate an entire CS60 or a CS80. I'm not sure. So yeah, sorry, I had to clear my throat. I kind of feel like this is a good thing. So basically they're coming down the path of, if you've got a CS60 or a CS80 and you've got a dodgy voice, these guys have got replacement voice cards.
I've got a dodgy voice.
My voice is dodgy all day. But yeah, and that's only because I've been fluey for the last 3 weeks. Anyway, you guys think about this? Good, bad, indifferent?
Cool idea.
Yeah.
Let's hope it all works.
Yeah.
Things as it should be.
If
I
it's
can
not
get my hands on
been...
it.
We'll wait
hardware,
for
but I
Kent.
did.
We'll wait for Kent's opinion.
Fair enough.
Sounds like no one's done it before, so it's a good thing to have, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, anyway, what else we got? The next stuff is kind of more just Behringer teasing us with certain things. The first one is the Pro 16 that they talked about. So this is a 16 voice Prophet. I'm not sure what type of synth this is going to be in, whether it's a modular thing, whether it's a desktop, or it's a small keyboard bed, or a huge, not huge, I wouldn't say huge, but deep mine size 4 or 5 octave type keyboard, not sure. But 16 voice Prophet is kind of where they're going with this. Geez, that electronics is getting small, isn't it? That is just getting tiny. When you think about those jacks at the back, they're what, 1/4 inch jacks at the back. That's 5 1/4 inch jacks almost is 8 voices of a synth sitting underneath it. That's getting insane. Yeah, look, I guess they know what they're doing, but I don't know. Like in the old days, you couldn't put electronics so close to each other in the old days because things heated up, or wires got hot, or there were so many things that you had issues with, and I guess a lot of that stuff is going away now with all this SMC type componentry. But I don't know, I'm not an engineer myself, so when I see this, I just think, holy crap, that's a very small circuit board with a lot of analog synth voices on it. And how the hell are they not having problems with these synth voices on such a small form factor? I just scratch my head. And if they're doing that and the engineering is working for them, then they must be doing something pretty cool. Any thoughts on this before we go to the next one?
We need to wait and see what it is, how it looks.
Well, I think you can safely say, Daren, it's the same as the Pro 8. Well, it won't be the same as the Pro 800, but it's an 8. This is a 16 voice Prophet style synth, so it will sound similar. I mean, these would be what, Curtis voice chips, wouldn't they, Chris?
Yeah, they'll be the same as in the Pro 800, I would imagine. It
Because
looks very similar to
they're
the
making them
Pro
now, right?
800 layout.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Core Audio. It looks.
yeah.
It does remind me of what's inside that thing. So it does. Look like they kind of started with let's just paste twice and then work from there, but it is a bit different.
The next thing that they showed on their Facebook page is this, and there's actually another photo as well, but this is the inside of an FPGA version of an Elka Synthex that they're making.
Wow.
Now, if you guys remember, the Elka Synthex is actually a digital synth with analog, what was the analog part of it? Was it the filter? I think it was. I forget now. The chorus was, I think, analog maybe as well. I'm not sure. Anyway, someone will have to remind me. It's been a while since I've been across the Synthex's specs, but they're doing a version of it here in prototype land that's FPGA based, and you guys know that the UDO synths are FPGA based, the Novation Peak, Novation Summit FPGA based, the Hydra synth is FPGA based, I believe, as well. So a lot of these synths are are FPGA based. So some of the Roland stuff is a hybrid between FPGA and DSP chips that they make. So, like for example, the ACB technology may have been originally FPGA, and I think they DSP'd it onto their own die. So, if Behringer are doing this to a Elka Synthex, that is really, really cool and interesting. Don't forget there was the Black Corporation remake of the Elka Synthex. That was a few years back now. So I'm pretty sure it did have analog stuff in it. Who said they were analog synth with digital control? I'm going to have to look it up now. Now, you got me interested.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was a digital synth with analog whatchamacallit? Filters, yeah. But I could be wrong. It might have been the other way around. According to Vintage Synth Explorer or vintagesynth.com, it is an analog voice, 8-voice synth. And they're using DCOs. Okay. Right. So, just because it's a DCO, it doesn't mean it's a digital synth. It just means that they're digitally controlled analog oscillators, which there's plenty of synths in that realm, like the base station has DCOs on it. So that means that this is not a true Elka Synthex because it's not a DCO.
DCO and it's fat, right?
Yeah. Yep. So interesting that why they've chosen that particular thing. But anyway, they did mention Mario Maggi, who's the original creator of the Elka Synthex, in their Facebook post. I'm not sure if that means that they've been talking with Mario. I do know for a fact that there was an attempt, Wagyu, if he's around, will probably remember this as well, a while ago where someone tried to remake the Elka Synthex, and that particular project got really, really heavily nipped in the bud by Mario because it was against it. He didn't get permission from him or anything like that. So
shut it down.
There, yeah. So if Behringer are working with Mario and getting the Elka back out, I'd actually be very, very happy. I'm just not sure if
sometimes these leaks do not contain context. So yes, there could be FPGAs involved in the synth, and maybe the person writing the post thought that was the coolest part of the story that he heard. But you know, the engineer might be going, "That's like a tiny part of it. Why are you talking about that?" Social media guys, they do what they do.
I mean, one of the biggest things that the Elka Synthex had was it had a very unique chorus sound, and it also had a very unique
voice stack.
Yeah, the cross modulation,
unison
cross modulation. I think with the oscillators, it sounded really, really rich. So I'm not sure if you'd be able to achieve that with FPGA. I'm sure that some of these chips now have really high resolution processors on them now, but it would be interesting to see how you would get some of those, cross modulations, sort of techniques to work on an audio rate level. But I'm sure they know what they're doing. It had Curtis chip filters in the original as well, so that would probably be easy for Behringer to do now with the Cool Audio chips. So, is there another photo of this? Okay, so this is the next one. That's the other project they're working on, is reverse engineering the mini pops. Now, I don't know if Steve, as in Aussie Steve, is in the chat, but he's... I don't know if he recently got hold of this, but he was recently showing this anyway, where he's got a couple of these. And they're an interesting beast. One of the things it's... a lot of the sound effects that this thing makes is based on, cyclic envelopes and stuff like that. So,
cool.
it'd be very interesting to reverse engineer this anyway.
Oh yeah, I just remembered. Yeah, it's all very based on the cyclic envelope. So there's lots of rattles and guiro-y type sounds and
Percussive sounds,
buzzes and bits, lots of sort of ratchety type synthesis.
So they'd have to have a fair bit of fair bit of oscillating type components in there that do sort of varying different duties, and I'm not sure really how the patches would work with this, but I mean, obviously the famous album that this was on was Oxygen, that, if you guys aren't sure what this sounds like, but it's basically one of those organ-based, you'd pop it on the top of your organ and you would play the drums with your organ. Was it mid to late 70s, I think it was, the MIDI pops?
Sounds about right. Don't quite know exactly when, but I mean, it's not like you can't get these sounds elsewhere, but I suppose if you really want one.
A guy made a digital mini pops not like long ago, and he used samples, and he found that with the samples you were able, just with just generic sample manipulation, like slowing stuff down, speeding it up with pitch or with stretching, you were able to get most of the sounds out of the mini pops just from sampling it. He had an original, he sampled it, and he made it like a VST version of it, and I thought it sounded really, really good. What's that you're showing, Chris? Show us again. You're muted, buddy.
Sorry, I was just going to say samples of the mini pops on here on my TR6S.
Oh, okay.
Recently, it's a while ago now. But
yeah,
it was one of the last things a bunch of samples I prepared for it because I wanted those sounds. So haven't made anything with it yet. So I can't really say. I'm
not going to say no if Behringer make a mini pops. Because, I mean, obviously Korg have had so many opportunities to remake that. How many drum machines have Korg made since the mini pops? And basically, they have not really remade it, have they?
No, they haven't. No. I mean, the closest did. Yeah, there's a little thing before the pandemic that they put out about the same sort of size, which was a sort of a rhythm accompaniment type thing. It didn't sound like a mini pop, so I remember
colorful buttons on it.
Yeah, I think it was White Thing.
I think it was that White Thing, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was. I think it was the White Thing. Yeah. It wasn't. It was quite uninspiring, if I'm honest.
And it didn't have like a sync, a clock sync or anything on it. Yeah.
No, there was no MIDI. There was nothing. It was a stop and start. So you put a foot pedal in it, and that was about it.
Foot switch.
Yeah. So.
Yeah,
but you're right. They've had lots of opportunity. Yeah. I have a feeling now. Sorry, I banged the microphone. I need to check, but I think I've got some samples of mini pop in the TRS-8.
Most of us do.
You know.
I mean, they're in. If you've got Arturia's Spark, they're in that.
Sparkle.
Spark 2. They're in. There's a few VSTs that have got them, and there's plenty of sample downloads that you could freely get off the internet, which has got the mini pop sounds in them. So it's not hard to get. And I kind of feel like most of you guys have, once you've heard of mini pops, you're like, I've got that sound in the sample. I really don't need a box, an expensive, few €100 box to regenerate these sounds. Unless they make it so that you can manipulate those sounds from a sound design point of view, which then would be a lot more interesting than just what we were showing before with the basic sliders that were on the original, which didn't do a lot. It was just more like, mixing the tones that were on this thing. So, yes. Tangerine Dream had a mini pops, I believe. I don't think they used it a lot though, because they would have consciously not wanted to sound like Jean-Michel Jarre, being the Germans that they are.
I mean, once you've used it, you've used it, and you know, having Jean-Michel Jarre use it meant that unless you're trying to recreate his work, then you know it's done.
Well, I think he pressed two presets in at once to get that sound on Oxygen, if I remember right.
I had one which was my father's. It wasn't a mini pops. It was something similar. In fact, I found the instruction manual for it recently, and did my first EP on it. And that's exactly what I did. Was by pushing. I think you could push 3 buttons at once to get slightly different sounds.
Yeah.
You know?
It would do some weird.
It was fine. It was late 70s. Just punk was just about to start, so it was, you know, doing electronic music there was slightly different. You know, so it was of its time. That EP will never see the light of day probably because of that.
I thought the Arturia drum brute had some mini pops ish sounds in it as well. It didn't have the guiro and the that starts with the Q. What's that thing called again? The Spanish name, Kes. The weird sounding thing.
It's not spelled the Q. It's Cuica.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. The sort of fish sound. Is it the fish sound?
It's a.
The guiro is the thing that's kind of shaped like a fish.
You rub a rag on a rod attached to a head. That one.
Well, is that the guiro? Is that
Brazilian cuica? That's the Brazilian cuica.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway,
gyro is the fish with the notches cut in. It goes. It's a rasp.
I used to play those at school.
I've got one of them.
Yeah, but other than those two sounds, I think you can get most of the mini pop sounds on a drum brute because it's a complete analog drum machine, and there's enough tone generation sound design on it for you to actually get some very similar sounding tones on it. So, yeah. I don't know. I kind of feel like if someone remade the mini pops, it'd be, oh, cool, you've remade one. I'll probably buy one. And then you'd get one, and then you'd be like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
That's just going to go in the cupboard.
What do I do now? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. You don't know how you react to it when you get it. I mean, they talk about. I thought the same thing about any of the Lin clones, although the Luma looks fantastic. Whether it would be one of those things where you get, oh no, you got to get it because it's the whole package and the way it works and the physical presence of it, and there's just some kind of X factor. We're not going to know until we actually get one and try it, and then you're going to be going, is that because it's not a real Lin and it's a Behringer, or is that, you know? Yeah, you'll be left wondering.
They should have made those sounds fill in the drum log, shouldn't they? When they brought out the drum log, they should have stuck them in there as well.
Well, even put a cyclic envelope generator on it, or an LFO at least that you could manipulate. Yeah, and then you could actually, yeah. The Vibra slap. Says Dr. C.
Vibra slap. Oh, I love the sound of a Vibra slap. Yeah.
Yes. I'm just wondering if we're again heading into that area of Korg talking about how they never look back. That constant struggle within themselves.
Well, I don't think Korg... Did Korg actually say that? I think Roland were the ones that were saying they don't chase analog ghosts. Yeah. I don't think Korg ever said it. Because don't forget...
Korg do it.
They just...
Korg had Tats, and Tats literally reinvented their whole analog resurgence. If it wasn't for that,
that's a recreation of the 700 or 700S. So they have done it in the past. I mean, the 2600.
Yeah.
So they are recreating stuff.
I saw this poll the other day. It actually made me. I don't know. Maybe I was a bit cynical, but it was basically a poll on a Facebook group where they were asking, what do you think was the greatest synth manufacturer of all time? And then you were able to add your own, so I chucked a few in there. And all the main ones were already added, like Yamaha and Roland and things like that. But the one that didn't get a lot of votes, which really surprised me, was Korg. Like you're obviously getting Moog was up there with more votes, Sequential was up there with more votes, ARP was up there with more votes, but I just found it really interesting why Korg didn't get a lot of votes. Roland got more votes than Korg. Yamaha got more votes than Korg. And if I actually think back, I would have to say that Korg were probably one of the most pivotal synth manufacturers of all time, because they were around in the early days making analog gear, making some really, really inventive, stuff. And, if you think about the MS-20, you think about the mini pops, think about all that stuff that they made, that,
really
the 700, all that stuff is really groundbreaking. And
they've always... Sorry, go on.
No, you go.
I was just going to say that they've always... I mean, I'm not saying it's probably the same in the last few years, but they've always had an attitude of doing some left field stuff every so often. A good example of that was when they... Yeah, I do too. I mean, they did that keyboard that was the Beatles samples in it. Remember that?
Yeah. I remember that.
And actually, I wish I'd bought one because it was great, and they were flogging them off for peanuts at the time. And I should have bought one.
They got laughed at things like that, didn't they?
Yeah, it did get laughed at for that. Yeah. He was called the Liverpool, I think, wasn't it?
The Liverpool, that's it. Yeah,
called
that's
Liverpool.
It.
Yeah. So they do weird and wonderful things. I mean, sometimes it doesn't. The stuff that they bring out isn't great. But at least they're trying to invent. I mean, I was quite interested in the thing that they showed at Super Bowl last year, and a bit more. It's developed a bit more. The spring thing. They had it this year's Super Bowl.
The physical modeling.
Now, it
thing.
looked less. Yeah, it looked less interesting this year than it did last year, but it's still. I want to see the finished product because I think it's interesting. But that's not coming out of Japan. That's coming out of Berlin, isn't it?
It just reminds me of that DJ, with the little metal prongs. And they do that in the DJs use them to tune and stuff. I don't know. It reminds me a bit of that. I'm not sure what you call that thing.
It is like they were quite upset about that. Somebody said that at Super Booth. I think I might have seen it on Sonic State, but somebody said it looked like the finger thumb thing.
Yeah, the finger thumb thing.
Was a bit.
What do they actually call those things though? I've always wanted to know.
Calimbas.
That's it. I've got one somewhere.
Yeah.
I've done a whole track with the kalimba.
And you see,
that's where you make them.
and you see the DJs. They've got the kalimbas, right? And it just looks. I don't know. It's a me thing. It's when they use the kalimbas, I'm just like, oh, come on, stop.
I did a whole track
You aren't
with a
cool.
kalimba.
You run a kalimba through a microcosm, and it's glorious.
Yeah, exactly, and it's amazing.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
I
did the drum thing.
I did the drum track. Drum track with the kalimba hitting the box and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, you can do all sorts of weird and wonderful things. Put it through loads of effects. It's brilliant.
With the new Korg thing when it comes out, Andy, you've got something to do with your microcosm then, right?
Yeah.
I do. I am interested in that. Whenever of course, we can't see it because you have to go to Germany to see it. But
so this is Korg. This is Korg Germany's R&D division, right? That's making this.
Yes.
Yeah. And there was actually another post about it after Superbooth finished too, and I can't remember where I saw it. There was a post about Korg's synth research division in Germany. Someone will remind us because everyone's all over everything on this channel. We know. And they were announcing some other stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a bit more cool stuff coming from there. Anyway, like I said, it kind of made me feel a little bit sad for Korg because they weren't getting the votes. But probably because they weren't as sexy as sequential, synth or a Moog or something. But I definitely...
They're sort of the slightly awkward younger brother of the synth family.
Yeah.
It's sort of like,
They are.
There's Korg as well. But he's a bit weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great bloke, but
And I think I do, and I've
bit
said it
odd.
before. And at the moment, Korg have lost their way, but they'll find their way back.
I
will
just
find
think
their way
they
back.
I think they've got some issues with some of the engineer choices. So they had Tats, and then he left, and then that was just a massive void to fill. And some of the older guys that have been around since almost the beginning, not since the beginning, because a lot of those guys have retired now, but they were never really sort of the front men doing the proper R&D. So these guys were probably just people who were working in part of the teams back then, and they just don't have that sort of quantum knowledge that guys like Tats do. And I kind of feel like that's what Korg need to search for now, that they need to search for another Tats or get him back, or, that's just what they were trying to do with the Germany division. That's their goal.
Well, yeah, because they came out with the Volca series, right? And then Roland turns around and rips off with the Rolkas, right? So Korg was first with that.
I still think Korg did it much better. I do like the Roland things, but I still think Korg were more true to it being an analog resurgent, because a lot of those Volcas were analog, like the Volca bass and the Volca keys, the modular. There's some really good stuff.
The keys was great.
And
that was based on the 700.
Don't forget the Electribe as well. I mean, I still think that's probably one of the best groove boxes ever made, the Electribe.
Well, the Volca drum too is physical modeling, so that's really cool. So,
yeah. I don't think he's working at Korg, but maybe he is. I'm not sure. I haven't been Bert. I haven't been on top of it. Bert's just asking, doesn't he still work at Korg? Again, I don't think he is. I think he might be doing other things, and maybe they've asked him to help out. I'm not sure.
I still have a dealer account, although we have no contact these days. I probably said it before on this channel that a lot of the decisions now seem to be coming out of Korg USA.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is necessarily a good thing, and it needs to be back to Japan.
Well, the R&D that they did in the 70s, was incredible.
It was.
So,
I think in Korg the engineers were given a little bit more lead to create. I think that structure is not a very common structure these days in corporations. That's probably what they're struggling with, the adjustment.
Yeah,
I think it's probably a lot to do with why it's that aspect of it is now controlled from the USA, because they need to keep control of costs.
Yes.
Yeah, those are cool.
I've got one of them.
Modern products they're making are still awesome, like the SQ1.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, it's been around for a while now.
It's great.
But I swear by these.
Wave drum. Wave drum's amazing.
I mean, I've had a wave drum on order for 3 years, and they're still saying it's not discontinued, but it's never turned up.
Is this the global one?
Yes, the current one. Yes, it's the global.
They actually had an original at Karma when I was there for the Chowning lecture thing, and that's really weird. The original wave drum is kind of funky looking, but they had 3 other ones. There's the redone wave drum. There's the wave drum Oriental, which had all the Middle Eastern stuff in it.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then the global, which had everything put in it.
So. Yeah. So I ordered one, but it's never turned up.
Wow.
But if I go into my account, it still says it's on back order, and that's been, like I say, 3
They're
years.
around. I mean, they're on eBay and stuff, so I don't know what's wrong with their distribution.
Yeah,
but you can't find them online.
Yeah.
Strange. Things.
I've seen guys use them. Sorry, I was just going to say this. I've seen guys use the a wave drum on EMOMs, and really, really impressive.
They're great.
You can do lots of stuff with them. Yeah.
The only problem is they're an island. There's no MIDI, and there's no other way to sync anything. It's basically audio out. But it's very expressive. It's fun. I still like the A-frame better, but the wave drum is amazing. So.
Yeah. So the guys in chat were right. Tats is actually the CEO of Korg Germany. According to what I'm reading on the internet here, anyway. So he is heavily involved in Korg still, which is good to hear. So, yeah. So maybe this thing that's coming out, this physical modeling thing that's coming out, has him all over it. And if it does, it's probably going to be pretty cool. And knowing him, he'll probably make something ingenious in it that you'll just go, what? And then people won't get it until it's been out in the world for a bit.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, right?
Needs to marinate in our minds.
Yeah,
Get it.
like a good wine.
Yes. Mulled wine.
I mean, I think the people closest to doing that sort of inventive stuff these days is Soma. Some of the stuff that Soma's coming out with is really good. Incredibly left field, but actually really
he's way outside the box.
Absolutely way outside the box. And that's great. I mean, that's what you need.
No, I love it.
You know?
Yeah.
See, this is the thing.
You can't buy his bodysuit that he does the performance stuff in, right? So
I think you know what we've got to look at is when we're doing a poll and we're thinking to ourselves, what were the greatest synth manufacturers of the world? You know, to some degree, some synth manufacturers have just made really nice sounding synths, but they've used the designs and principles of other manufacturers to make that synth. You know, to a degree, like I would say that, you know, the sequential synths wouldn't even exist if it wasn't for Moog, or a lot of synths wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Moog. But do you know what I mean? So, like, you've got to sort of think to yourself, okay, well, if I'm going to run a poll and I'm going to say who's the best synth manufacturer of all time, it's a pretty loaded question. It's very polarizing and it's very dependent on your own opinion, right? And some of us will have an emotional opinion, some of us will have a factual opinion, some of us will be divided with our own opinions. I don't know. But I kind of feel almost a little bit disappointed that the world doesn't feel that Korg is up there in the top 5. It's interesting. And I'm sure when I'm saying this to you guys, you're probably saying, well, they're not in the top 5. I still think sequential should be there. I think Moog, ARP, Yamaha, Roland, and there's 5. Bang. Where's Korg fit in that? I can't fit Korg in that. But I personally, I would squeeze one of those others out and put Korg in there.
Yeah, the MS-20 is huge. It's that alone.
It is absolutely
a huge deal.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I mean, ranking things is kind of a silly thing, really, to be fair, right?
It's a fool's errand.
Yeah.
Check top trumps, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's silly, but I'm just sort of having a bit of fun with you guys. So, yeah. Okay. Why don't we finished with products, by the way. There was only really 2 that I found at all interesting this week. There was a few Eurorack modules. I think you guys are sick of seeing Eurorack. I think Superbooth just about killed us with Eurorack modules.
Yeah,
anyway.
it's overload. Overload, isn't it?
Robbie's just I can hear the sigh of relief from Robbie as we speak.
Yes. Now we just need to complete the picture by talking about FM for the next 2 hours.
When you think about it, like when I built this case and I went down that rabbit hole with Eurorack, it was a very it was a journey, right? It was one of those journeys where you had to sit down on the carpet and cross your legs and look up in the sky type at the end of it and have a little contemplate your navel moment with it. It definitely was, right? So I have become wiser as a result. More cynical as a result, but one thing I will say is that it's definitely a corner of synth development that I feel is still really, really important, and we don't get to see some of the things evolve into the bigger desktop and board type synthesizers unless it's gone through that modular realm. I don't think, personally. I mean, if you ever want proof of that, how did Moog start?
Exactly.
There's your proof.
Yeah.
You know, so I know there's people out there that will literally poo on Eurorack and modular synths. That's cool. No worries. But how cool would it be? We talked about this last week. But how cool would it be if we had modular synths do away with patch cables, and we had some sort of digital control realm, or maybe both. You could choose to patch cable something, or you could choose not to.
patch cables.
Yeah. So that we're not killing, we're not, chopping the head off at both ends of the snake type thing.
Also, those synthy clones that have the little matrix where you move the LED around. It's so much quicker just to put pegs in there.
Yeah, it is. It is to some degree.
Navigating a stupid LED around. Yeah.
Or you could use a patch cable and go, right, I'm going to do that to that, and then go, right, memorize that, and then you can pull it out, and it's still connected.
Well, the Buchla 200E supposedly has that functionality for memorizing stuff.
Yeah, it did, yeah. Let me get Kent in. He's just joining us on the... No, he is. What's he doing?
I mean, I'm not anti-modular at all. It's just buying modular wouldn't be for me. That's all. I mean, I've got stuff in here that I can, I can patch a Hydrus into something else, and I've got patch cables, but I don't want to go down the modular route of buying individual modules.
It's a crazy road, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, actually,
it's a lot of fun. It costs a lot of money.
There's a lot of kit in here already, and Jane bless her would probably, like say, divorce me.
Also, a whole afternoon can be gone and you don't have much to show for it. You just had fun.
Exactly. There is that as well. Yeah. There's that anyway. I mean, that happens without modular.
I was chopping Kent's head off before.
Yeah. Letterbox. You're letterboxing Kent. Oh, he's shaking his head. We've done something. Oh, we said something.
It's working now.
No.
It's working.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. I hate Zoom.
Hello, darling.
I know,
right.
but
Hey.
this is what they give me.
I'll show you this. This is a Mark I SynthX voice card. Okay.
Wow.
And what is you will see in almost all of these cards is, if you look up here, where is it? Here we go. Here. And where's the camera? Yeah, that way.
That's it. Yeah.
Here, and where is it? Over here. This such
Two
light.
missing chips, yeah.
2 missing chips.
That's where the filters used to be, because these are a beautiful source for getting hold of Curtis filters. So but it's Mark. That's a Mark One. That's a Mark One. There's a Mark II voice card in the SynthXs for the later models, which were better than these. But it's interesting to see. I mean, when Behringer say that Maggio's involved,
scratch your
I
head.
wonder if he knows.
Yeah, I wonder if he knows exactly. Yeah,
yeah,
a bit like.
Hey, speaking of good places to find Curtis filter chips, ESQ1 boards.
Hee.
Oh yeah.
Oh, don't do that.
They're cheap.
Hands off.
They're cheap at the moment. ESQ1 boards.
Oh.
Yeah, I can't remember where I got one knocking around. So actually, let me move this, because at the moment you're poised over this.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Who wants to work on a CSA?
Yes.
So we want to know, what did you think of the retrolinear voice boards?
Oh, brilliant! Yeah, bring it on. Yeah, can I have 164 of them now, please?
Well, he's got
Right
8
now. Because at the moment, a standard board, a standard CS80 voice board like that one, is going to set you back $3,000.
Wow.
Yeah. Populated, obviously.
God, there's a lot of pot.
So these are very welcome. Very welcome indeed.
I'm interested to know. I mean, there were a lot of chips on that voice board, and he did say that he was very particular about getting the nuances of the characteristics of the voice board. So we've heard that before, right? A lot of people claim these things.
Oh yeah, yeah, because there's a lot of the waveforms, the two waveforms that the wave shaper make, because essentially the VCO itself only makes a sine wave. And then there's a wave shaper chip which makes the square wave, which isn't square, and the saw which has like a little squiggle halfway down the float.
Yeah, yep. The seesaw.
Yes, and it's but it's that sort of characteristic that generated the sound that everybody got to love. However, that said, when those nuances are removed, you don't really notice it. But what the thing that because there was a guy who made a card, and it's the same kind of thing that happened in the Decker's Dream as well, is that the envelope responses are wrong.
Which has more impact.
The envelope responses and the way they reacted to the amount of velocity on the key and stuff like that was always out, and that's why it wasn't quite sounding like an 80, and not so much the waveforms. So how they've set up the two envelope chips on those cards, because one's for the VCF and one's for the VCA, and yet they're two totally different chips. So the way it envelopes the filters is totally different to how it envelopes the VCA. And I think in the Decker's Dream they use the same chip, so they respond the same way.
Yeah.
And that makes it not sound as much like an 80.
Interesting.
As a lot of people who have told me that it does. Look on, oh, okay. All right.
Can't they do some kind of slew stuff to make it offset more or something? Or
it's not. It's not that easy because they're exponential rather than linear.
All right.
It's a certain character that they produce, and to copy the character, you have to copy the character right across the board rather than just one instance of level or whatever. What's my setting? So it really has to be done right from the get-go. You know.
There's a lot to do. You've got to get the timing of each stage correct. You've got to get the exponential curve correct. You've got to get and your sustain will be linear, so you've got to get that amplitude correct as well. So there's a lot. And if you're doing different ones for the VCF as for the VCA, if you're doing two different ones.
Yeah. And the other thing,
why would they do that error like that?
Well, it's not a true recreation, is it?
More like an 80 is that out of the 16 cards, you'll never get two that sound the same.
Yeah.
And
in that video, he talked about. In that video, he talked about how they apparently Yamaha. This is something I actually didn't know, but apparently when they built the voice chips, not the voice chips, the voice boards, together, they lined them all up and they chose the ones that drifted the same, and then that's when they put them into the same synth board itself. So it wasn't necessarily, that they'd make a chip. A voice board, and that might not actually work with that particular synth because it didn't drift the same as the rest of the voice boards. So that was kind of their musical way of handling it.
Yeah, but that's what I find rather weird, is because once an 80 gets up to temperature, its tuning doesn't drift at all.
Yeah, that is.
So it's pretty rock steady. So, I mean, depending on how, if they mean, initially as it's warming up, they all drift the same amount.
That could be what it is, yeah.
Yeah, but actually having those nuanced differences between all the cards is what makes it so big and fat in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you tune them up really, especially the late 90s, the 79, 80 1981s, the very last of them, where the VCOs, Yamaha had gone, oh, do you know what? I think we've managed to fix this VCO. I think it's okay now. And they were boring sounding.
Mm-hmm.
Like exactly the same with the Minimogs. The early Minimogs were like rich, warm, fun, and then those 1978, 79 ones were like, all right.
Yeah. And the new recreations are also right. Yeah.
Yeah, they got that. It's sort of like that's a little too accurate for my.
Yeah, it's the micro tuning, isn't it? That's what it is. That little sort of tiny micro tuning.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of the things that was going against the early digital synths when they came out, because everything was so fucking accurate.
Yeah,
it was nice to have it accurate, and it did produce a sound that was interesting at the time, but it soon became very dull because of the. Can we have this a little bit less thin, please? So which they created in a different way, but certainly came about. But I welcome these new cards. Absolutely, all day.
Good. Yeah. I mean, one of the things.
Do the Kia rare now.
When you're talking about those envelopes, right? One of the things that really is a good example of that, and it's not Yamaha CS80 related, it's just synths in general related. If you look at the sequential Pro, is it the Pro 600? Yeah, the Pro 600. Mm-hmm. When they brought that thing out, the envelopes in that were so uninspiring, it wasn't funny. They were just really like boring. They were slow. They weren't workable for a lot of different types of sound design. So you ended up in a very small corner of what you could produce from the synth. And then when that Gleegly mod came out, it just completely opened up a complete new synth for it.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Incidentally, that Mini Pops.
Yep.
I think the one your dad had in was might have been the Univox SR95.
No, it wasn't.
It
began with E. It was EL something. Like I say, I recently found the instruction manual, and now I've hidden it again.
There were three different brand names, weren't there? There was Univox. It
wasn't an Elgin.
Was it Tyco or something? There was some weird. There was another weird name that the Japanese used, and then there was the Korg one.
Yeah, because the
Univox
SR95 was actually just a rebadged.
Yeah.
Called Mini Pops. Everything about it was absolutely identical.
Just hang on. Let me have a look. I did put it in here. I found it in here.
I just think if someone's going to remake a Mini Pops, make it so that you can sound design the thing a bit more. Don't just make it so that you can still create the famous sounds, but then add some, manipulation to the sounds, because that would make it much better.
Like it's close to the original and all that stuff. So
yeah. Well, I mean, I bought an SR95, and I put a MIDI in it as well, which was a mistake. Don't do that. And after I'd done a few Jar-like tracks with it,
you're done. Yep,
I'm done. Yeah.
Park it in the corner.
Yeah, which is pretty much where it is now.
Got a lot done with your space rumba, Kent? No more space rumba for you?
No, I'm done.
That's it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need that, though.
Take it down to the old person's home and play it, and then that's it.
Yeah, that'll get them moving with the Zimmer frame.
Well, it's like the Roland 606. You can only get so much out of that too, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's true.
It's fun, but it's limited.
Yeah,
Nah,
CR7.
I have the
Kinda
little
like that as
drummer
well.
boy module from Delptronics, the little drummer boy. It's essentially a recreated 606 and modular. It's fun, but you can't do that much with it, really.
Even without effects? Or...
Yeah.
You can have effects, but I mean,
that
just
would...
the drum is the drum is the drum, kind of. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they were welcome at the time, for sure.
Yeah.
A drum machine where you could put your own rhythms in. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's soft spot.
Well, you can have you can have a MIDI pops. You have a MIDI pops, and then you could have a little panel like you have on the CS80 that you open up.
Yeah.
Those sliders and stuff I can muck around with. So that would be cool.
Tweezers to modify them.
Yeah.
That'd be so small.
Oh, patch bit of wire, so you can put in there, right?
Sorted. Yeah, I just have to hit the power supply with a screwdriver handle every now and again.
Oh,
Generates its own
transformer.
sine wave.
Transformer
Yeah,
problems.
And what it does is it distorts the audio path right through the entire keyboard. And it's like, I bet it's that big cap as well. And, no, I don't want to work on that today. Enough to do.
I can just imagine, Chris, there's like a whole rung of copper wires right now that it's just gone on that transformer.
You reckon they'd instantly collapse based upon the...
Yeah, when he's hitting it with the back of the spanner.
Oh, no.
Yes. I mean, the coiling, this thing's about as big as a colour TV. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, they're huge, aren't they?
The high voltage stuff scares the crap out of me. I hate working in back of televisions.
Oh, the old put the screwdriver in to discharge
the cap for monitors, because we remember CRT.
I remember
monitors,
that.
Yeah, I used to have a monitor that used to put out vast quantities of ozone.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, the mesh.
For some reason, it just did it. It was one of those things where it's like, should I take it back? I don't know. It just makes smell of ozone all the time.
So you're the reason Australia has no ozone.
That's
the
where
reason
hole
why I've
above
got
my
skin
house.
cancer.
There's a hole right there above my house. That could be related.
I'm trying to remember what it was.
It
was something I was working on for 3 or 4 days, and at the end of it, realised that I'd become dreadfully sunburned. I can't remember what it was.
Oh God! Okay, like arc welding burn. Like burn.
Where all the skin starts peeling off your forehead. And you go, oh, what's that? What's going on here? And going more and more red as time went by.
You haven't been to Berlin, have you?
Not lately, no.
Acid rain.
Usually it gets your eyes. That's really nasty.
I think they've solved that problem there now, though. No, we have a problem.
Because you get spontaneous X-rays off of them too.
If you go out in the sun here for more than about 15 minutes, you will literally start to cook. So that's why you have to wear sunscreen or long
Especially
sleeves,
when you're
hats.
pasty and white like me.
Yeah,
I'd be a charcoal briquette down there. I'd be toast.
I've been
I've
been to barbecues where I forgot to put it on, and I've come out looking like a lobster after about an hour.
Yeah, I've done the lobster.
I get all this from Fiona. I'm out there and it's like, oh man, it's really, really hot today. And she goes, you don't know what hot is. All right, yes. Okay.
She's right, though.
Was it Bateman's Bay?
Bateman's Bay, yeah. New South Wales,
Yeah, she's from Bateman's Bay.
Yeah, I've been there.
Toasty.
Yeah.
And that's not even that hot there.
No.
Well, we have Death Valley here where they set the record, right? Death Valley, it's incredibly hot there.
I mean, there's hotter places Sahara Desert. There's some hot places there. There's the Middle East. There's some hot places there. So, we're not the hottest place in the world.
Venus.
But the sun, the surface of the sun.
Got like 120 Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Send a nuclear blast.
Great place for your holiday.
Yeah. I think we should run Price Watch. Because I'm just having a look here. It's not that exciting. You'll like it though. Hey, this one's for Daren. Starting with this one. It is a Elka SynthX. I'm going to put Kent up here because I know he loves these things. Yeah, so that's pretty cheap. It's about £600, Daren, for an Elka SynthX.
Yeah, well, yeah. Not bad.
I'd say that's a pretty decent buy. I don't know if it's in like terrible condition or anything, but it is based in Belgium. So I do like these things. They're not terrible. I think Yamaha did a reasonably good job of creating a VA type synth. I mean, it's got your standard aliasing issues and stuff. Yeah.
But it's one of those synths, isn't it, that people are starting to really sort of really like.
It's not fun to edit, but it's a great synth.
It's a pain in the
it's probably not knobby enough, right? That's its downfall.
That little matrix area is pretty good, but the little buttons in the middle, just to the right of the screen, is where it gets annoying.
Yep.
Yeah. And then I suppose it's color coded, so you do get it could be worse, but it could be a lot better as well.
Color coding helps, yeah, it does help.
This is the bit that always had me a bit scratching my head. The left-hand side is straight up and down. The right-hand side is a wedge.
It's like, cool, man. It looks cool.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Well, didn't the CX, was it the CX1 when they're exactly the same shape?
CS1X, yeah.
Same shell for all those. Yeah,
I've got
CS1X.
I've got one literally behind me on the up there.
With the little breast.
You can see it. It's literally sort of. It's like when you play it, you can't. They want you to lean over a bit, because otherwise you can't play it properly.
But it's cool because you have scenes and you have the ribbon and stuff. It's a cool design.
I think you can put your hand there. Look, you see, that's perfect. Whereas it was square, it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
That's
Very
like
good.
That's like slow
Ergonomics.
Just perfect for the for the ribbon.
I thought it might be
If
because
it's
that's
square,
how
it
you-
wouldn't. It'd be quite hard.
I thought it might be telling you how to slip it into your bag, into the carry bag, the wedge.
Well, the Akai X80 has that slope on the back, so you can actually see the ports. You know, it's like this, so you can actually see where the holes are and where the names are and things.
Nice.
It's kind of clever. Yeah.
All right. Anyway, that one's specifically just for Daren. The next one is this one is for Kent. I have found another Timberwolf. This one is the absolutely insane postage edition.
Oh my god!
The price of the unit is less than the price of the postage.
Brilliant.
Wow. It is kind of heavy.
I just love the world right now.
Oh, dear.
It's a fantastic place. Let's see if I can zoom in on the postage just for Kent, so he's happy.
Oh, for God's sake.
There's the price, and there's the shipping.
We keep the fly out and collect it, wouldn't it?
Halve it for pounds, but even still, there you go. You can buy mine if you want. Mine's still on Reverb. Mine's really expensive.
Mine's still in the garden.
Yeah, seen yours in the garden.
Mine's not yellow like that either, unless it's just a bad camera photo. Mine's not yellow. What else do we have? We have this, which was extremely interesting. Has anyone come across the Sankai Entertainer?
Wow.
Yeah, I saw a demo of this. A guy did. It's interesting.
Is that a radio tuner in the middle?
It's an
Got a cassette deck and a radio.
It's an FM or AM radio. It's a cassette deck. It's a drum machine. It's a synth, and it also does. You can actually record as well on it, so you can record the whole, basically all the things that it's got on there onto the cassette. Yeah, it's a little doodle machine. You know,
Genius idea.
So it's the product
Brilliant.
you buy for your 15-year-old son when you didn't know what he was into. He's into everything.
It just
Let's get him
screams
that.
70s. It's great.
It does,
Yeah.
doesn't it? Brilliant.
Looks like something you'd get at Tandy
Classic.
in the day.
It probably was at Tandy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Radio
It's a
Shack.
case catalogue thing, isn't it?
Yeah. I
Because
used to
Casio
sit
had
there.
a few things like that, but they didn't have the radio necessarily. They just had the tape deck.
Were you guys
No.
like that as a kid? I used to sit there with those Tandy catalogs, and I used to look through them page
Oh,
by
yeah.
page by
Yeah.
page,
Yeah.
and then I'd look at my wallet and go, I can't afford any of this stuff, and then go up to Mum and say, Mum, can I have $20? And she'd like, go away. You're just gonna go and spend it down at that Tandy store on that rubbish.
Yeah, but I really need
lot
that
of it was
flashing red
rubbish,
LED. The first ever flashing red LED. I remember buying that first.
I talked to Mum
flashing
about
red.
that recently. She doesn't remember doing that, and I'm like, oh my god, you were literally like so bad to me. I was dying to go and buy something from Tandy. You would stop me every single time. She doesn't remember it.
Yeah.
A 3-band receiver, cassette recorder, electric organ, an auto rhythm. I wonder what the rhythm is. I wonder if it's like a MIDI pops in there. Wouldn't that be cool?
Probably, yeah.
Chat, boots and cats and boots and cats.
Well, there you go. It's got
Yeah.
it's got waltz, march, rock, bossa nova. No drum machine if it doesn't have bossa nova.
No.
The rhythm probably sounds like those awful Nintendo chip tune, like little puffs of air kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Completely wrecking your ears when you're listening to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go. That one is in France, in Tinturi, in France. I don't even know where that is. Who's been there? Anyone?
Nope.
No one knows where it is. It probably doesn't exist. Next, this one is for everyone who watched last week's show, and I mentioned the Simmons drums
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
because
Sims
we were
5,
looking
is
at
it?
the syncussion right last week. And one of the things we mentioned last week is, does the syncussion remind you a little bit of some of the Simmons? And most people said, no, it doesn't. Of course, it sounds completely different. Well, there was this, and these had the ability to shape some of the sounds because they were analog, modular type sort of, modules, right?
Yeah.
This is actually on eBay. This one. So it's US $3,250. Can I expand this for you guys? Here we go. So, why is it not letting me do that? So what is this one? This one's got the bass, the snare, and 3 toms.
Is that what you ever need?
And then you've got 2 blanks, and then you've got like a mixer thing on the right-hand side. I actually remember playing with one of these. And obviously you'd have it all connected up to your trigger things, right? And if you look, it just reminds me so much of like a, an UP 2500 in a way, or, a System 100 in its kind of design, right?
Are these those classic toms that go
I like the look of
doo,
it.
doo,
Oh,
those
yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
toms?
They're analog, yeah. Analog bass, analog snare, everything. Yep. And then if you look at the back of this, not the side, the back, there you go. That's how the pads go in, the channel outputs down the bottom, and then you had the synth patches in. Who's played with one of these? Hands up. I have.
Nope.
Seen them in a million 80s videos, but never played them.
This suffers from the same disease as Mini Pops does.
Oh yeah, one of yours. Yeah.
After a while,
Once
you're like,
once you've made your 3 songs with it, you
No,
don't
it's
wanna
probably
use
not
them
quite as
again.
bad.
The
This
snare goes a bit further. I
Yeah,
find.
this did have a little bit
It's
of
more music. Yeah, bit of life.
life in it.
Longevity,
Yeah.
or whatever it is. Yeah.
Who's iPhone 2? I hope it's not one of these dudes.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, let's have a look.
I always think of the drums and always something there to remind me. Very, yeah, those same kind of toms and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering who iPhone 2 is. So we need to work out who that is. Someone's joined with iPhone.
Oh, a new.
It could be our illustrious pornographic extraordinaire.
It's not a
person.
lonely lady, is it? Is it?
Oh,
Yeah.
disappeared now.
We'll never
You
know.
saw it, didn't you, Kent, in Zoom, right? You saw iPhone 2
Yeah.
join in? Yeah. It's gone now. Oh, it's David. Join again, David. Try again. Anyway, that's it for Price Watch, by the way. The Simmons I thought was the most interesting, just personally, but doesn't mean it is. Yeah. I'm sure Kent really liked the Timberwolf because I know he loves that so much.
Yeah. Don't we all?
Yeah. Can't get enough of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love the sound of them when you drop them out of windows.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you throw them against the wall, they sound amazing.
Yeah, that's
I think you promised.
very percussive.
I think, Ken, you promised to give me your Timberwolf, but thanks very much, but I don't want it now.
Well, it's only out in the garden there next to that Jeep before.
Yeah.
How come we've got Kent
I'll
twice?
pass.
Remember when you guys planned to do the add-on for it, right?
Yeah.
Didn't you guys have a
Yeah.
fancy add-on for the Timberwolf?
I could hear you, David, but I can't see you.
Hey, good. I know. Give me a second. Sorry.
Blame the cat.
The cat's on your camera. Get him off the camera.
It's Cleo's fault.
You have to activate. It's at the top of the screen, Dave.
Ah, yes.
Caught me out the first time.
Where can we put him, though? That's the question.
Oh, I can bugger off.
No, don't bugger off. Don't you dare. You're not allowed to.
Another CS80. Oh, another one.
Oh,
I'll be back in a moment.
Now we're going to put David somewhere. Oh, hey. There we go.
If he gets down low enough, he can put his head on my body.
I'm gonna do what I did last time.
Hi,
That
Dave.
would be weird.
Just give me a sec.
Yeah.
Layers.
Yes, Synchrotron. I
Doesn't let
think
you scale
Kent thought he had retired as well. But I think since he announced his retirement, I think the more CS80s have come in because they've all gone, oh crap, I better get him that CS80 I've been meaning to get repaired for X years.
No, we have to go like
It's the
this
problem
now.
with announcing these things.
Hey, David. Hey.
Hang on, I'm gonna fix him. Don't worry. Oh, he's frozen now. Okay. Why don't we try that?
Ooh. Promising.
That's all works.
David rotated his phone and now it's not working anymore.
Yeah.
Here you go. I can fit more people in. Hooray! Oh,
Cool
David's
beans.
disappeared now.
That's the problem with YouTube. You start streaming one orientation and then you rotate it and then it pauses.
He's back.
Yeah.
Great technology.
Yes. It's because it reboots the app.
There he is.
Change orientation.
He's
Oh
back.
my God.
You're
Can
back.
you hear me?
We can.
Yay.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Hey.
You'd think I'd never done this before. Jeez.
Look, it works.
It's all right. We've all been there.
Look at that.
Oh my
Hooray.
God.
Even day.
Still out there.
All right. Well, carry on.
Happy days.
We just, like, the last couple of weeks, we had some dodgy people join in on the show with, and you guys didn't see it because I'm controlling what's being shown here, but I'm seeing, like, porn movies, like, full-on porn movies being shown in the background, and I'm like, wow. Delete. I mean, kick.
Oh, wow.
I was saying you saved the link first, right? Then you got rid of him. Yeah. So.
I remember.
Yep. Oh, it's good. Nice to see you, David. How's everything going?
Yeah. Not bad. Not bad. Trying to stay busy. Haven't done much music.
your
I have
Timberwolf?
What's that?
Where's your Timberwolf?
Yeah.
I don't want a Timberwolf.
Oh.
It's
I did-
400
You
postage.
saw in the chat, I bricked my sub 37.
Oh,
Trying
Oh,
to fix the key, the MIDI key issue. I opened it all up. I was so proud of myself. I put it all back together, and then it wouldn't turn on.
Oh.
It's okay. It's okay. It'll get
it's
fixed.
probably not
I'm sure.
bricked.
No, I'm just calling it
It's
brick
just-
because it sounds
Yeah,
automatic.
it's just
But,
a matter of troubleshooting.
You've probably just forgotten to put a screw in or a wire on or something.
Probably connected.
Yeah, I looked at it and I just put it up on the shelf and said, "Okay,
Yes, sometimes you need to put it on
deep
a shelf.
breath." Still
Mm.
looks great. Still
Yeah,
looks great.
Don't
Oh,
try
I-
to
I
fix
did
things
wanna
when
do
you're
quick-
angry.
Quick plug. I got a listening party, a Bandcamp one. So I don't like to do these plugs, but I'll do it. Right.
Yeah, go for it. No, go for
Of
it.
course.
I don't really have a record label now, but it's kind of pivoting towards that. So it's Ace of Stripe Recordings. So I did my first compilation. It's got crest heads on it. I plan to keep doing them. My most important goal is not to make money, but is try to connect some of these artists I've met over the years with some of you too. So slowly I'll be doing more series, and you'll be connecting with maybe some people you haven't met before outside the group. So it's kind of my way of kind of bringing us more closer together. And there's some really generally they're real nice, real talented people like everyone here. And I really enjoyed doing it. So we're just doing a little Bandcamp listening party. You might have got an invite. If you didn't, I think it's around 8:30 maybe UK time, 1:30 Mountain. But even dropping by and saying hi, I'm sure would mean a lot to whoever else. So that's all my big spiel.
That's today,
Yeah.
is it,
So,
Dave?
yeah, that's today. Actually, I had some CDs made in the CD place. Gave me the wrong CD inside, so they look great, but it's the wrong band. I might keep one by accident because it's not that bad.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
It's pretty good. It's kind of mogwai, krautrock. It's really wild stuff.
All
It's
right.
cool. Canadian band or something. So yeah. All right. Anyways, that's all I got. Carry on.
Have you got some links to send us or for the music, the collabs?
Yeah, I'll try to send something here a little bit. I'm just a little nervous to touch my phone right now. But no,
Yeah,
I'll
Don't
do
touch
it
the phone.
before the end of the show. I'll send something. It won't be pornographic, so that'll be good news.
Oh,
That's the other link you're going to send. There's a second link. Yeah.
yeah, few links.
He's going to rickroll
Yeah, I'll
us.
send some.
We're all
yeah,
going to get
so-
rickrolled.
yeah.
Yeah.
It happens. So, anyways, cool. That's all I got.
Simmons drums.
Fantastic. Yeah, no, I think doing what you're doing is a great idea. Like, connecting up with different people like Steve. Steve's a good bloke.
Yeah, he's
and-
very talented.
Yeah.
It's hard actually trying to pick, but the first one was there were some people that kind of were in with the initial idea. I was just really thrilled that people submitted tracks, right? I tried to see it from their perspective. I felt privileged that people took the time and actually wrote a track. And yeah, and I mean, Ian knows record labels is a big commitment, and so I was trying to find the middle ground.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I tell you, the biggest problem I find, Dave, is trying to get media interest in the sense of trying to get reviews is just a nightmare.
It's
You know,
It's
on average,
stressful.
send
I
off
know.
yeah, and it's
Yeah,
like,
you have.
I mean, you could.
ahead.
Sorry, go on. I was just going to say,
Yeah, you
there's
have
so
to-
much. There's so much stuff out there. No.
Yeah, and you know,
So much
it's
competition.
it's awkward. You know, it's not in our.
Mm.
I don't think it. You know, it's hard to. It's not like I love promoting stuff. I love
No.
I love advocating for people and artists. I try to reframe it so I can get motivated, you know, to do it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, it is. And some of the networks have gone down. Like Bandcamp had all those individual people that were reviewing. And when they did that layoff of a lot of those people, you know, these are the unintended consequences most people don't understand. But it destroyed, like the one record label I work with, it destroyed all of their people that they had built reputations with that would promote, would put them up on the. So, you know, not to get dark about it, we have to. So basically, the point is we have to rebuild all this stuff ourselves. And we've got to have these networks, or else you just cannot count, as we know, these larger entities to advocate or be around, you know, because they're so yeah, it is Ian, it's very
My discography.
it's stressful when you do it, when you put people's stuff out there and you're terrified no one's going to listen, no one's going to, you know what I mean, and you feel it's terrible. Well, and some of them some of them do a good job.
I'm very honest.
Leverage.
Yeah, I'm very honest with people. Like the meeting I had with this girl on Thursday, I said to her, look, you know, I can't promise you anything apart from I'm happy to put your music out, you know, and hip hop isn't my thing, you know, but she was great, you know. No, she's not put anything out apart from on SoundCloud. And I said, but I can send out 50 or 60 emails and we're lucky to get one or two reviews, you know. So I can't promise you anything. Everybody here knows that, you know, and it's just, you're trying to help to some extent, you know.
There used to be like,
going
back in the day, remember there's these lists of radio stations, and I don't know if anybody remembers, and you'd print out all these radio stations and you get all your envelopes and you would just start sending these things. I would go to the I would go to the post office. They'd get to know me, and I have like another 10 or 15. I'm like, here, just
the old demos. Yeah.
Then you have to check.
I mean,
You got to, you know, and so
it used to be easier a few years ago trying to get just things like you know, our equivalent. Well, I mean, I've been played on American college radio, but getting stuff on college radio seemed easier to some extent because you'd send out some links, and you know they would either like it or not like it, and say, "Oh yeah, we'll play it on an action." It just seemed easier to some extent. It just, I mean, you know, I get inundated with these. If I send out loads of emails, probably about a third of them come back and say, "Oh, well, we'll review the album or track or whatever it is," and say, "But we want you to pay us for it." Well, we've no budget. You know, we literally, and I'm not. How of an unbiased opinion is that if I've paid them to do the review? You know,
it's not.
It's odd.
You know, the thing is,
exactly.
it's
not.
So
we just, you know, not
Well,
going down that road.
So I know. So I hate talking online about it sometimes when it's not a conversation like this, because people think, oh yeah, you want to go back to the old ways, and I'm like, no, I'm just telling you that it was actually, to your point, it was easier. It wasn't easy, but now we've kind of broken the system, and I think it's for the best because we wouldn't have any of this, right? But it did change it. It did change it dramatically, and we and trying to figure out how to bring that back. So the point, I think you're doing the label. Everyone's doing their part now, which is really cool. I mean, everybody's got their own little channels, and I do think it's helping a lot. I do. There's more activity than would be there if you were trying to do it yourself, right? It would be like zero, you know. So it's pretty cool.
There was probably just as many musicians around back in the day. We just didn't know about them because we weren't as connected.
They weren't,
you know.
They weren't being
I mean, that's a real positive, isn't it? The fact that we are here, and it is one of the positives out of the pandemic to some extent. The fact that we all became much more interacted and connected via the internet than we probably were. I know we all got zoomed out to some extent through that period, but that is one of the very few positives about the pandemic was that.
Thanks, Jason, for
not forgetting all
keeping the gerbil wheel spinning. Good on you, mate.
Yeah.
Love a good gerbil.
That person that was dialing up on Zoom was probably playing with a gerbil wheel, I think.
Hey,
I thought he was hiding Volkers, not gerbils. Anyway,
close your ears.
Different meme.
What I did a video about 5 or 6 years ago on music promotion on my channel, and I actually should go back and rewatch it because I reckon it would definitely have changed slightly, not a lot, but slightly. Like, for example, I probably would have talked about SoundCloud being a good platform, but I probably don't agree with that now. So things do sort of shift,
Yeah.
They
I mean, I can't get any response from the UK magazine, like Electronic Sound. I can't get them to even do a tiny review of anybody's work, and I keep banging away at them. And I mean, if they're going to be at Synthfest this year, I've got to have a word with them and say, look, how the hell do I get to have your review editor just to do a small, send it out to somebody else, send it out to so there's a whole thing there, really.
Well, there was on this video that I did 5 years ago, there was a section on it where I said get your music offline. And what I mean is that you actually have to perform live, you have to do gigs, you have to do regular gigs. You have to take your own videos, photos, keep journals, everything, because no one else is going to do it until you get to the point where you become famous, and then someone will start doing it. I think I mentioned a few weeks ago, we were talking about this, that side of the music industry has not changed at all. That part of it. I mean, the amount that you make may have changed. There might be slightly different processes about how to get gigs and things like that. It may slightly have changed, but the actual whole fact that you have to still perform live or perform in front of people
definitely
hasn't changed.
The thing that's really nice is that things, because I am interested in sort of experimental electronica personally, in the sort of music that I put out. It is quite nice to be able to go, as I said about that, just turning up a room above a pub. And it's the EMOM thing, isn't it? That is, the fact we've got so many EMOMs, and I know that some of them are paid, and that's usually because they're having to pay for the room and the PA and the guy at the desk and all that sort of stuff. So, but it's quite nice that we can literally get out of our bedrooms and go and do this fairly regularly. You could tour. I mean, people have already started touring, haven't they? They're about to put an album out or something, and they go and tour EMOMs. They'll do half a dozen EMOMs up and down the country, which is great, and we are seeing it across the world to some extent in smaller, there's been Berlin and Amsterdam, and has there been one in Australia yet? Have we got Australian EMOMs yet?
I think so.
Yeah, you guys have a really cool thing going.
We have something in Sydney, don't we?
There's EMOMs in Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, and I believe Perth's had one as well, but I haven't.
Yeah, we have opportunities. There's definitely places to gig. I had to be honest, personally, doing a solo live thing is not my strength, if that makes sense. I came from a band background, and I've done it. I don't know if it's presenting myself. I know people have pulled it off. It's a whole different commitment. I do agree though that if you're, I don't want to say the word serious because that's not the right word. It is the smart way to go. If someone asked me advice, like if my kids asked, I'd say go play live all the time.
Yeah, definitely.
Connect.
Yeah.
Do the social media, but don't make that don't play that as your strength, because you're going to be up against unbelievable numbers of people doing that, right? So, but social media works. You know?
The other part,
and
the
that
other
changes
trap,
too, right?
There was another trap that I found
changes.
as well. One of them was that you can be quite excited that you've got, this might be your first time that you're releasing an album or your music or whatever, and you start Googling and you start finding all these different cool places where they're kind of businesses in a way. They'll be happy to promote your music. What you find out pretty quickly is a lot of them will take you on for free and you'll submit your stuff through them. You have to sign terms and conditions with them. Be careful with that. Then you'll find that what they're actually doing is they're kind of, in a way, they're entrapping you. And then if you want to start sort of using their services, that's when you'll start seeing some really, really big money that you have to pass over for them to actually promote you properly. Yeah. So that would be the first one I'd watch out for. And the other one is for getting a review. I think Ian talked about it before. There are so many places which will review you, but it's not free. And you can never, ever trust those reviews because you've paid them to review you. Of course, they're going to say something nice about you because you've paid them. What the best reviews are people who have discovered you at an EMOM, and they've put you in some sort of fanzine type publication, and they're the better ones. They're the more real ones because they're going to be from what they've experienced, not from a paid point of view. So just be careful with that stuff.
Definitely.
No, you're better off. Go ahead, Ian.
Go, Dave. It's all right.
No, it's the best. You have to Ryan's point. You really have. There's some really cool, like Ian's DIY type labels. I mean that in the best sense of the word.
That's exactly what I am. Yeah.
That's good.
Are doing it, I want to say altruistically, probably more, for the love of the whole thing. And there's other ones out there, and that's who you want to connect with. In my opinion, I've got one, a triplicate that I do a little bit with. And there is trying to, you just really got to have somebody out there. And I guess now I have to do that role for what I'm doing and just advocate hard, everywhere you go. Yeah. And I don't really want to be that person, to be honest with you, as an introvert, but I'm so passionate about it, to be honest. And I know that sounds cheesy, but this is my sweet spot,
Okay.
I kind of found it, so I can do it because it's really super. Some of these artists, like on the one I just did, they're so talented, and some of them do play live. They play under different names. You don't always they're like, well, I'm going to use this name, and you kind of want to go stick with one name, but but they're doing it. They're doing their thing, right?
Yeah,
that's what they want to do. They're separating all their projects, but
there's
some really fiercely talented people out there.
I mean, the last EMOM that I played in York before leaving Yorkshire, I'm putting the album out because Simon, who has done it in the past, and he's put an EMOM album out from a previous show. He says he can't do it anymore, and I said, "Well, look, I'll put it out." So later on this year, I've already put a video out about it anyway, but we will be putting out an EMOM album. Now I've got the everybody's recording. I need to master it. It's probably the project after the vinyl album that we'll do. So probably September, October time, and we'll promote it to the best we can, and then if we make any money, we'll split it between all the artists, that's the plan really. And I'm quite liking doing little things like that really, it's a bit, it's a bit of work.
Some really cool. Yeah. It's, and I'm sure you'd agree, and anyone else who's been a part of it, it's a very personal thing, and you really make it's kind of my way to reconnect with people too. Sometimes it's really nice. Hey, we haven't talked a couple of years. I'm doing this, and I like that part of it because I had a nice little group of Twitter people. It's been several years, and I don't, we all kind of went our own ways. A couple of them stayed there, but they really, we know what happened.
Yeah.
But we've kind of fallen out of, we don't all, they're either not on Blue Sky or they're, and so it's a nice way to
I'm on Blue Sky. Yeah, I'm on Blue Sky, but don't use it often enough. And I've still got a Twitter account, but very rarely do I use it. Actually, what I've started doing the last couple of months, mainly because my boys use it more than is I've had Instagram forever, but not really used it. And I'm starting to. I need to learn how to use Instagram properly. How's that? So and I've started posting little bits and pieces on Instagram. Nothing to do with music yet, but
the thing I don't like about Instagram is you can't link. You can't link anything, so it's purposely designed to keep you on the platform.
Yeah. They're trying to engage.
That is a pain.
It's gotten a bit more complicated over the last couple of years as well. Now there's
you had
3 different ways to post.
Yeah, the reels, stories.
Yeah.
And it
I don't really
towards
understand the formatting is weird.
Yeah.
Sometimes
it's weird.
It's great.
They keep on moving.
Well, I do think I was going to say it's great for product and physical media. So for me, if you got a cassette or CD or you've got, I think that's the ideal place. I bought stuff. In fact, I bought this pedal. Oh my God.
Cool.
I got Cleo. Oh my God, it's dropped it. Oh, Cleo. I know.
On carpet.
I got this cool pedal. I'm sorry. Give me a second. It's an MS-20 filter clone.
Nice. Yeah,
the company out of Ukraine. I haven't used it yet, but it's super cool.
Yeah, that one recently came.
But it was Instagram.
I saw it on
Instagram. Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then next thing you know, I bought it. So hey, I guess it works. Looks really cool. Yeah, I like the glitter kind of vibe. It's got that psychedelic.
Yeah.
Everything comes around and goes around, doesn't it? It's funny. I'm surprised people aren't doing that modular more.
I reckon Fluoro's back, David. Do you remember Fluoro? Like all the Fluoro shirts and that. We're not talking about the tradespeople, how they wear that because they don't want to get hit by a train. We're talking about just normal people walking down the street, the bright coloured yellow and green and pink and all of that we saw in the 80s.
Really big.
It's coming back.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Especially if you went to the beach. Oh my God, everything's like these. I've got some bandanas somewhere. Like these orange and green. They are brilliant. They are hilarious. And they're like tiger because that was the big Poison and all the metal bands are doing that. I was putting that stuff around my neck, walking around like I was cool. But I think this glitter thing, I could see someone doing a modular or a synth.
Yeah.
If they haven't, like it's super retro, super cool, I don't know what it calls.
Like a sparkly sort of paint, is it?
Yeah, it's the glitter.
It's like Neil Peart's drum kit. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. In cars they call it purling, where you put little things of
little specks.
I've got a pair of Don Martins that
but now they're doing
pearl.
Now they're doing that ugly primer thing, right? Like gray flat primer colors.
Blue gray. It's the blue gray.
Oh, I don't like it.
Is that the new black then? Blue gray is the new black.
Yeah. I see it everywhere.
No, don't do the primer. It's just all it is. It's just people go. People have done something lazy, and then someone's gone, "Oh, that looks cool."
Yeah,
and
it isn't finished. It's the undercoat. No, I'll take it.
I've just been lazy
now. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There's difference between cool and just being a little different at first, and you go, "Oh, that's different," like, and then you're like, "Oh." Okay,
you see a $60,000 BMW with that blue gray, and you go, "What a waste of money."
She's $60,000 BMW, and you go, "That's a waste of money."
No, the BMW is cool. It's just not the blue gray. So
probably not 60 either. That electric car,
well, that's the basic
I think it's like 80 or 90.
Yeah,
they're so expensive. Yeah. I can't. It makes sense. Look dirt cheap. Like, geez, you can buy. Cars are. I can't believe how much cars are now. Unbelievable.
Well, Elon Musk won't be too happy about Australia right now because he's got his Teslas over here, and I think it's in either Melbourne or Sydney where his main distribution center is. There's literally stacks and stacks of Teslas sitting there unsold in this huge, gigantic graveyard car park. And the reason why is because Australians are like, sorry, I'm not paying that for that.
Yeah.
Because Aussies are pretty, they're thrifty people, just in general.
And no Cybertrucks yet, right?
They'll just go, well, I could just get that Chinese version called Build Your Dreams or whatever it is, and it's like half the price, and it does exactly the same thing. And you stick it in the wall, it charges, and it's basically takes the kids to school, and it's half the price, and it's got a big iPad screen in it like the Teslas do.
But actually, I saw something today, this week, that because his shareholders have just agreed a £43 billion payout to him. So I don't think he's worried about Australia.
Oh, he's not worried.
I mean, he's not worried about any. It's just like, nah.
The shareholders are really.
It wasn't time when I quite fancied having a Tesla, but no, I'm not.
Yeah.
Well, he's just and he's throwing around these lofty concepts. Here's my next lofty concept, guys. And
which he didn't come up with, right? He just talked.
He did not even come up with the Tesla thing in the first place. It was a whole bunch of other guys.
Of course not. He didn't come up with anything.
Two guys, yeah.
Did he buy it?
He just buys stuff.
He's just an entrepreneur.
He's not a scientist. He's not an engineer. He's a joke. Yeah.
Aaron here, the car world.
Yeah.
Well, he's worse than that, actually.
Where was he originally from? Johannesburg, isn't he?
Yeah, so he's apartheid. He's got apartheid history and stuff. So he's.
Yeah, but I think it goes back to what David was saying before about creativity, right? There's people that literally, and we talked about it last week with the Spotify guy, that literally just feed off of our creativity, and it's sad,
vampires.
There's got to be a time where we prevail. I feel it's coming. I don't know when, but it's coming.
I'm not so sure. I think we have to tolerate these people. I think the music business has always been like that. If you look back through history, musicians and artists have always been ripped off, and we are still, as artists and musicians and creatives, getting ripped off. So that's not changed ever, and I don't think it ever will.
And AI is going to do it more.
It
attracts
the music business is a dirty business.
It's a lot of volunteering, don't you think? Like that. This is the word that comes to mind, right? Like I went to my son's string concert last night, and it was at night time, and the school put it on and everything, and there were definitely people that would have been paid by the school as music teachers and things like that, but there were a stack of people that were there who were volunteering. They were setting up, they were putting music stands away, moving stalls, they were serving at the cafe outside, and it was in this massive amphitheater thing. And I just think to myself, is that the whole music industry is like, I would love to know the percentage, but it's so full of volunteers because they have a love, to be part of it. They enjoy this, it's a fantastic sort of world to be in. So I understand why people are in it, but it's kind of sad that if you were to sort of put that and compare that to another industry, like getting a tiler in your house, you're not going to get a volunteer tiler to fix your cracked tiles in your bathroom. You're not going to get a volunteer electrician. You're not going to get a volunteer mechanic. It's kind of weird, isn't it? How that seems to be accepted in society.
Yeah, it's because it's
they
like,
seem to.
Sorry, go, Dave.
Oh, I was going to say they're also coming up with these new terms like creatives.
Yeah,
and you have to, obviously content. And I think the guy from Spotify, these are very calculated terms they're using and how they're going to monetize going forward. And they're trying really hard to make a distinction. And you kind of just ask them, like, what the hell's a creative, right? you might get somebody to tell you to look it up. I'm like, there's nothing to look up. There's no such thing as a creative. It's not. It's not.
What's a
You know,
mic?
you're act-
I think it's a psych term, isn't it? Creatives. That they used to use that as a in that Wheels and whatever it was
creative
called.
Myers-Briggs.
Myers-Briggs.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, it was a creative.
yeah,
It's a psych term.
Well, yeah,
Creative,
yeah.
analytical,
Yeah.
all that stuff. Yeah.
yeah, but it's utterly worthless
remember
from a practical standpoint, you know, versus saying someone's a musician. You're like, oh, what are you if you're creative? And then that suggests that some people aren't creative. So it's just nonsensical to me.
Just say free spirit, man. You're a free spirit.
Maybe the word
We
artist
need
became.
creatives. Yeah, we have a big project. We need creatives to help us.
They didn't like the word artist anymore. Maybe that was on the nose.
Yes,
No,
I think
because
it
you got
was.
to pay an artist.
Exactly.
Right? That's a trade.
I think
Yeah.
creatives are like artists, but creatives get paid and artists do it for no money.
Yeah.
Or is it the other way around?
I mean,
Well, yeah.
you know, I've been in a band
ultimately,
where
It really
you know,
works, yeah, because artists do get paid.
Yeah.
Or they're
So
gonna
talk about
being
it.
in a band. Sorry, go. Go on. Sorry.
No, I think they're going to use the word creative to pay people, right? That aren't really have put the time in as an artist does, right? And they're really just going to kind of play with AI and whatever else. And no offense to people like that, you know. But I think the intent's going to be to pay them very little wages and
I mean,
make you feel special.
You know, having been in bands where it was my living to get paid in the past, you know, and it was always a struggle to get, you know, what we'll consider to be a reasonable payment for playing music, you know. But what Ranzee said was right. I mean, you know, I remember once saying to somebody, you know, if you get in a taxi and your taxi driver takes you to where you want to go, you're going to pay him at the end of it, aren't you? And yes. So why won't you pay me to come and play music for you? It's exactly the same thing. You want a service. We're providing a service as a band, but you don't want to pay us, or you want to pay us less than what would be. No.
Yes.
I mean, there was a time back in the late 80s where we wouldn't get out of bed for £300 a night.
Yeah.
Now, thinking about that sounds reasonable. That sounds like a reasonable amount of money. But there's 5 of us in the band plus a roadie.
Yeah. We used to get that in the 90s.
So,
about 400 Aussie in the 90s, and we'd split it between
we were out
5
4 or
of us.
5 nights a week.
So you weren't even making 100
And
bucks.
our minimum,
No.
our minimum was 300.
And you'd spend the
2,000.
whole week rehearsing. So you know you had a gig on that Saturday night or Friday night. You'd spend the whole week rehearsing. You'd be out, you know, the travel, you know, from wherever you are to the particular place, lugging all your gear. The gear's worth more than the car that you're chucking it in. And then you get there and you get paid $90 each, you know, whatever it is. It was just, you didn't do it for the money. The money was like probably gone afterwards when you went and hit the piss afterwards.
I was going to say, sometimes you play for a jug of beer.
And all the other stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
Don't do drugs, kids. It's not good for you.
Yeah. I feel like it's a dangerous sort of thought, but you probably don't want to let that mature too much, that thought about how much money you can make out of the music industry, because there's only a few that actually really do.
And I feel for kids now, you know, well, there's two sides. Kids want to be in music, or they want to be in, we'll call it the creative arts, because that's, you know, like whatever it is. And they think that they can really make a living out of that. And why shouldn't they? So they're doing courses, they're going to universities, and they're doing, you know, all these courses to become musicians or whatever it is. And the reality is that they're going to really struggle to make a living.
Oh, but
exactly.
Ian, so these kids are like my kids, right? My youngest, he's in 4th grade, and he's already playing in orchestral bands. He's doing piano. Nice. He's done his grade 1 exam on his piano. He's playing strings and he's playing clarinet. He knows how to read music. And by the time he gets to 12th grade, he will be a very, very well rehearsed musician, right? but he will never ever. He won't be paid like a doctor. He won't be paid like an engineer.
It won't be.
For all of that practice and effort, that if you add all the hours and everything that he's done over the years, and then you get people say, "Oh, he's gifted." I'm like, I facepalm when I hear that. It's like,
Yeah, I know.
do you know how many hours he's practiced for?
Yeah. So lucky, just got
It's like-
gifted.
He's just put
Yeah,
the hard yards in.
The other one,
Yeah.
the other one I hear all the time is, "Oh, he just has to make music, or he just has to make art. Therefore, we shouldn't pay him because he's compelled
Yeah,
to do
yes,
it." So
exactly.
clearly,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
great, it's permission. We don't have to pay him. It's because he's going to do it anyway.
It's funny.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah, my youngest son is 30, right? And he is a very, very good artist in the sense of painting and drawing. He is very, very good at it. And he's when he did A-level art, his tutors said, "You've got to go to art college." And he made the decision not to go to art college because he knew the best job that he could get was to be a teacher, and he didn't want to teach because he knew that his art wouldn't make him any money. You know, and I mean, he still paints and he still draws when he's got the time. You know, he works in finance because that's where, to some extent, that's where the money is. You know,
Isn't this the flip side of the world we live in now with the technology and the internet and all that stuff? Because people just assume that they can have it for nothing. You know, you don't need to buy anything now. You can just get it. So the more that happens, more people just say, "Oh, I'm not going to pay for that. Why should I? I can just rip it from here or get it from there."
Yeah,
and it becomes a sort of
that was the problem.
It becomes the norm.
Yeah, that was the problem when getting your music for free became an issue, didn't it?
Yeah, Napster era.
Napster.
Well, they had a chance to jump on that.
Napster was the start. Yeah.
What was that guy behind Napster? What was the guy's name?
I forget. I can't remember his name.
I remember reading a book about it.
He used to sell Napster, didn't he? He managed to make some money out of it, but
he was a musician, wasn't he?
I mean,
the guy that started Napster.
I think he was. So.
Yeah, like a rapper or something. I forget what his name was. Someone in the chat will be able to tell us. I kind of feel like,
but that
was inevitable anyway, right? We were already
yeah.
ripping CDs into MP3s at the time. I felt like it was inevitable. It wasn't like we were forced though. What? It wasn't forced, but it's just
Sean Parker.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Sean Parker.
He also had money in Facebook early on, I think. Don't quote me on that. Somebody, Sean Fanning?
I think he was an investor in Facebook. Yeah, I think he was a.
Oh, was that? Yeah.
I thought it was Sean Parker.
I think he's in the Facebook movie. Yeah. I think he's in the Facebook movie.
He's in the Facebook movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Social Network.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I mean, there is. I mean, I think it was. Can't remember who it was now, but somebody said, that if a kid's got no money and loves your music, then that's okay for him to download it for free, and it certainly is. But that's not always the case, is it? It's people that can afford to pay for your music, but want it for free.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. But then it becomes like they say, all the bigger record companies and everything start thinking, "Hey, look, there's less for us to do it, and we can sell just as much."
Yeah.
And then it just
record
companies snowball.
Big record companies want to sell you the same thing time and time again on different formats,
platforms.
That's all they've ever done.
That's why.
It was
vinyl, isn't it, when that's coming back. Maybe we can make more money now.
Yeah.
But now with the newer AI tools, you can steal riffs and motifs and stuff, and don't have to take anyone's music. You can just generate it with no talent, right? So that's where it's
we're all
headed.
doomed.
Exactly. We are, Daren, but
calm down.
We're not doomed.
I heard a very, very similar discussion when I was talking to a bunch of people who were into writing. So like writing novels and writers' guilds and poems and poetry and apparently that world is just as bad.
Yeah.
And there's only a few people that actually get published. There's only a few people that make number one bestsellers type thing. So it's not just musicians. It's filmmakers,
graphic arts,
well.
it's
publishing,
literature, it's everything.
Yeah.
My eldest one is a literary agent, and that world is just the same as the music world, and he's worked as an editor. He's now a literary agent, and it's a difficult business for anybody to try and break into.
You really
The AI stuff obfuscates the plagiarism, right? It's an amalgam of so many different sources. You can't even pinpoint exactly where they took it from, but an agent already grabbed that, put that in an algorithm, and you stole it without knowing who you got it from, right? So
is that ChatGPT, right? I was looking at this the other day from a computer science point of view, and I was talking to a few people about it, and I mean, it's not. This is kind of dumbing it down a bit, but do you remember Ask Jeeves? They're like
yes, I do.
It's like a
I
meta crawler, right? So it crawls multiple search engine, and then it collates that result and gives it back to you. Well, ChatGPT is kind of like that, but it uses AI. It does definitely use AI. It uses a learned algorithm. It learns on itself. It gets better and better, and the more it gets asked questions.
Machine learning.
But the way it collates information is like Ask Jeeves. It basically goes and meta crawls and finds, usually it's the top 5 to 10 results. So if you want to try this, it's actually quite easy to do. Get ChatGPT to do something for you that you feel that you could replicate as an internet search on Google, and then crawl those first 5 to 10 sites, and then get that information, put it in front of you, and have a look at what ChatGPT has given you as a result. And they would be very, very similar sort of words. But like what Andy said, it's been collated and it's been merged like that.
Cohesive language.
Filtered and merged,
Yeah. So it's there's a new version, by the way. There's, I think, version 5 now or something, the engine. So it just keeps, it's like a machine. It just keeps getting better and bigger, and
I just worry for artists that it's gonna I know it's speeding up everything even more, right? So I mean, why are people using all these things to get quick results? So what are we going to do? So we're just, I already see it like with Bandcamp. People are like, oh, my releases, they get this spike and then they flatline. And so what is everyone telling you? Do more. So, and I guess as I get older, I'm going to slow down, man. Whoa, Jesus.
Just resist it. I feel like it's easy. Just take a personal choice and resist it. Don't use it.
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, all this stuff about because Spotify would say that you have to get to the hook in the first 10 or 15 seconds of the song and all this sort of stuff if you're going to get
I don't like that.
more plays. And I hate that.
I like intros.
The idea of that.
I'm an intro person. You guys have probably worked that out with my music, right?
70s, 80s long intros, right? It's like 2-minute intro.
10-minute intro.
It's great.
Yeah,
I like it too. Yeah.
I like a concept album. I like concept albums.
I like the good jam for like 2 minutes. The Cure used to do that. They would jam for like 2 minutes on their songs, and then all of a sudden Rob Smith would be like, "All right, let's get to it." They just start singing.
You kind of don't feel satisfied though, do you?
Beautiful.
If you're giving someone the hook within the first 10 seconds, it really doesn't satisfy you properly. It's almost like that sugar hit that these young generations must always have.
Yeah, it's a dopamine hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't satisfy you long term. You've moved on. You've scrolled next. You've had the quick hit.
The reason why the Purple Rain intro is so long is because Prince hadn't signaled to people to kick into the rest of the song yet. He was just riffing.
Yeah.
He was God on stage, right? So they basically just waited for him. That's why that intro is so long.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be much shorter, but he just kept going, and they said, "All right, whatever, we'll just go with it."
Great musicians.
I played in a band like that, and the singer would just drop his hands and tell us all to just like, like chill the F out. Yeah. But it's super cool. Yeah. It's super cool. It's like now it's because I listen in the car. I listen to these songs. Yeah, they're highly formulaic, and how they're done. And I don't want to judge the music. I'm looking at more what it means. I think as Ranzee and what we're talking about, it's like but so all we got left is live music. That's the one place.
The other issue for younger people.
Don't kill that.
Here we are. A lot of old guys talk about younger people. Is the attention span or the lack of attention span. in listening to music, that the fact that they keep flicking between one track and the next track, and so they don't.
And everybody thinks they have ADHD now.
Yeah, that is.
Well,
I reckon that
movies from the 70s
Ian,
with long cuts, right?
That is
movies are all like rapid fire.
That is closely related to the amount of kids that have been diagnosed with ADHD and autism. These days, it's insane how many kids are getting diagnosed. Like if you're a dad and you've got kids at school, you will see like just about every second, third kid's being diagnosed with some sort of mental sort of deficit. And
so
be careful with this, right? Because there's real people out there with it. But if we're just diagnosing just about everyone with it, then what are we doing? We're diluting the whole world from the reality of what some of these people who really have it are. And maybe are we pushing these kids, that way?
Yes. That's kind of my point, is that we're exacerbating it to the point that ADHD is kind of worthless term now, because it's like
I got the feeling that's gonna be known as the ADHD effect, and the causes are going to be two different things. One will be to do developmental or brain issue, but the other part will be societal pressure and brainwashing and overstimulation. You never know. So,
right, and a lot of these things were solved, like when we were younger, by just proper parenting and cognitive based, training. Like just teach your kid to think better.
Stuff that doesn't fit into society as it was back then. Behaviour that wasn't
stuff like this
acceptable.
doesn't help, does it?
No.
Well,
for
that's my
kids.
point.
The fact that every kid.
It's now extremely acceptable.
9 years
well,
old.
the social media have to get more likes. I have to get more engagements.
That kind of behaviour is now encouraged. It's now kind of promoted as being, that is normal. That is what society expects of me. So society expects me to listen to all those songs as quickly as possible and to give as quick a reaction as I possibly can, without thinking as much as I possibly can.
Yeah.
And so I assume as quick as possible. Turn off that stupid heart thing, that rapid heart thing that comes up during the stream. I turn that shit off. I hate that.
It's annoying.
So what I was saying before
want to see the chat
about ADHD is like there are definitely real people in the world that have really got this. There's definitely people who have got autism. There's definitely people on the spectrum. But what I'm feeling at the moment is it's just been thrashed around. Just about every kid's just about got it now, to the point where if you go and tell someone that you've got it, it's like, so?
Big deal.
Yeah. Everyone's got it. Well, hang on a minute. Not everyone's got it. What? What are you talking about?
Exactly.
Because I know people that have really got it, and, some of them have to be institutionalized. And, I know some kids who are supposed to have had it, and you look at them and you think, they just need a good little whack across the back of the head. And
I think it's
on your merry way.
At best, I think it's going to be a spectrum of level of ADHD.
But it's definitely to do with
the same basket. Yeah.
But the thing is, Chris, and you're with me on this. It's definitely to do with this social media factor. Like we were talking before about the 10-second music thing. It's got to get straight to the hook. This is feeding that machine. That's what it's doing.
Definitely.
We shouldn't be doing it. That's why I made a conscious effort. My last album was progressive. I actually made that decision because I went, like F, am I going to feed the machine? I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to give the machine a big fat middle finger in its eye. Stuff the machine. I mean, I don't know if you guys have worked out, but I'm a nonconformist.
I think we all are to some extent here.
Revelation.
I'm exactly the same.
I love that term. I've got a T-shirt that actually says it, nonconformist.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
No, I refuse to get a T-shirt that says nonconformist.
Nice one, Chris.
I refuse to wear T-shirts with slogans.
Well, then I guess I will get a shirt. Yeah.
What's my T-shirt today?
Hang on, I'm confused now. Shall I get one or should I not get one? Which one am I conforming
my
to?
My T-shirt is I am the voice of my generation.
Rage Against the Machine, ASIO head. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you look at in music history. There's been so many middle finger bands, right? I love it, like Public Image Limited, and it's so many out there. And I just, yes, and
exactly.
They
those
have
bands
their
are still out
place.
there, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was not a fan of the Fall, but the Fall were a band that actually
what about
didn't
the
play
Clash?
the game, did they?
The Clash, they were a massive middle finger band. Because that was all in that
thing
punk
in general, right?
That was the punk thing in general. Yeah, I love the punk movement. The punk movement was so cool.
Yeah.
It was like
I love it. It's very deep.
it was this machine of music, right? And they got to a point where people were just like, "What? What are we doing, people? Like seriously?" And then the punk movement started, and it was like, "Yes," It was actually cool. It was a cool period of time. I mean, I don't know if I agree with some of the craziness of the music because it was just, it was just insane. But geez, some of the nights that we went out on, wow.
Killing Joke is like that.
The attitude was great.
Yeah.
Killing Joke, yeah.
Oh, they were great live.
Oh,
It was just
Radiohead.
Still up.
What about Radiohead? Like that was
Radiohead was so far ahead of the curve for me.
crazy good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they were way ahead.
Just think about that, like what David was saying before about being creative and just be true to yourself. Sometimes you don't even know what true to yourself is, but you kind of do. You're sort of you're emotionally guided, right? So that's the heartstring stuff. Usually, it's pretty accurate.
Yeah, I mean, usually if someone's trying to drive you towards money, it's not real musician-like. And that's nothing against money, right? Because I believe people should take care of themselves however they have to. But it just doesn't, you can't listen to anyone if their primary motive is to make a profit over whatever, the endeavor is, you have to pause and say, wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
I always like this kind of joke. I'll say, well, that's very non-musician like what you're saying now. It's kind of my way.
Would you say
it's why I didn't
creative?
like no,
it's a gentle way
I
of
don't
putting
like the
it.
word producer. I don't like creative. They all make me really wince.
And
I never liked it either. Never liked it.
Production. You know what I mean?
But
get it out there.
When it becomes money, it's kind of like step away from the job, because that is not the creative process of music. It's feeding the sausage factory, isn't it? The job.
It's very I don't know many really
back to sausage rolls again.
Yeah, it's tricky.
Yeah, back to sausage rolls. 5G.
I've known a lot of great musicians. Almost all the great musicians I've been a part of, and I don't mean just technically, just what they've done. They were not driven by cash. They cared about money, but they were definitely not. I rarely have seen the connection where they sat. The ones that were like, oh, we got to go do this. They were usually not the most artistic of the group. That's just been my experience. I don't,
They were the accountants.
Yeah. You need them both. You need them both.
Oh, you need an accountant in the corner, but you don't want him designing the melody of the track.
Or the cover, for that matter.
Or the cover, yeah.
I just had a thought about A&R people, because A&R people are kind of somewhere in the middle. I mean, there's probably not that many A&R people, traditional.
Yeah, I mean, it used to be in the day there were people would come out.
They used to be very good at
filtering.
The trick was working out how to make money around an artist without influencing the artist itself.
Yeah.
And some of the AR people were very good at doing that. How do I make money from this guy?
Remove the artist.
Wasn't that?
But not in a nasty way, not in a ripping them off type way. Just working out what angle to take to make.
Wasn't that the classic Radiohead moment though, where they said they'd done Creep and then they came back and they kind of told them what they wanted to do, and this is the story I've always heard. And the band just said, "Could you mind leaving?" And they kind of got together and they made a decision what they were going to do. And they were like, here's what we're going to do, right? And it was kind of that pivotal moment, like, we've listened to what you've said.
Yes.
That is not what we're going to do. And
well,
kind of fascinating, when you think about it.
I mean, I'm a massive fan of Talk, and that's exactly what they did. Obviously, synth pop for a couple of albums, and then those albums are successful. The record label give EMI, bless them, who obviously have sort of become a subsidiary of Sony or Universal, gave them a load of money to go into a Wessex studio and just do what they want, and that's exactly what they did do, and it was unmarketable. Now, over time, those albums are really well thought of, but at the time, the record company almost didn't release it. And it's the same for the other albums that they did. Laughing Stock, the last album, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah,
it
opened
up
that experiment. It's too commercial, so they didn't even like to play it.
Yeah. I like Creep. It's a good pop song.
Yeah, Lennon said something about that,
they were going
didn't
in
he?
that direction.
Do you remember John Lennon? He said something about that after he left not left the Beatles, but after he did his solo stuff. He said he found that there was this challenge. I mean, you'd expect him to be extremely, easily taken up by record labels and the amount of popularity that guy had. He still had these challenges, and it was because it wasn't under the guise of the Beatles. It was under the guise of him on his own, which, it's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. When you think
he was probably more respected in retrospect.
Yeah, it's like
at the time. It's kind
until
of
he started
like a Van Gogh.
As big as they were, him individually wasn't respected as an individual musician until he'd done those albums. It grew.
Well, you think about how he did it too. Like, I guess all the Magic stuff where he just brought in his cats, his musicians, and they just sat around. And it was kind of the beginning of the basis of where we went with music. We're going to do it ourselves. We're going to record it, and the difference is he had a whole great team of songwriters. All these guys were not solo artists, really. You know what I mean? They sketched and just had these.
Oh, they would have been
so different.
queuing to work with him. There would have been queues of people.
I mean, I've just watched Get Back, the 6 hours of of the Beatles, and actually, it's quite joyous to some extent to see these guys just sitting around working out songs, and half of those songs were on the last album, half of them were on Let It Be, and yes, they were indulged because they've got this whole team of people behind them and a film crew and all of that sort of stuff. But actually, just to see them turning up each morning and just jamming and just working on songs and working on each other's songs was actually really quite nice to see, actually.
Yeah.
And although there was apparently lots of tension in the band between McCartney and Lennon, you'd see a bit of it, but and obviously Harrison walked out at one point, and you don't see all of the background to those.
Well, they had
always
different ideals, didn't they? That was the tension.
Contrasting,
completely different ideals. There was one guy, he was kind of really into the business side of things, and there was another guy who was just more interested in the creativity side of things. And they were becoming, both of them were very creative in their own right, but, that was being contrasting.
But that whole sitting together, playing as a band, I was just talking to my kids yesterday about it. They're 9 and 11. I said, you guys ever think you're going to play in a band? Or, you don't know really how to approach it. And I just go, tell you, if you can find a group of people that you enjoy playing with,
Yeah.
I said, and if you starts coming together, I said, it's going to be nothing like it. It's going to be nothing like it. I said, but they think band, like, well, I might join the orchestra, that. And I think that's a good start. It's not really what I'm talking about. Such a good feeling,
isn't it?
But that's the same idea,
That feeling that you get when you're all gelling in that in that jam session, there's nothing like it.
Jamming is fun. Yeah.
Or before you get on stage, or you get on stage and you've got your stuff
when you're
ready.
tight,
you sound good, right?
You're a gang, aren't you?
Beautiful feeling.
You're just a gang. You're a gang of musicians, which is great, and there's nothing better. I mean, I'm looking to join a band down here. That's why I was talking to the alt country guy. It just wasn't going to work out. You know, so I mean, and I'm happy to play covers just for the fun of it. Really, it's not what I want to do, you know, long term. But if there's a few quid in it, happy days. Really, but it's about being with a good bunch of people. You know, within reason, I'll play anything that's not heavy metal. But because that's just not my thing, really. You know.
But and working through those problems,
shreddy,
right?
and
Social
come on, do
problems.
some shreddy.
Yeah.
I don't mind a bit of. I don't mind a bit of heavy metal. There's a few heavy metal songs that I'll tap my feet to. I don't mind some of them. Yeah.
Enter the Sandman's probably like the only one I would go with, and I don't really like Metallica. Sorry, I've just isolated anybody in the chat room that likes Metallica.
These days, I find, metal a little bit more interesting of the side of things than rock. But I actually, the band I was actually in was a thrash punk band. It was hardcore punk, so they couldn't be more different from synthesizers. So it's really odd that I ended up here. But we never really got to the point where we were like, you know, electric on stage. That was what we aspired to be. That was what the bands we supported were. And we're like, man, those guys are so good. Wish we could do
some
that.
of those punk bands, they love synths though. Honestly, they really did. Like,
Especially
I'm pretty sure I remember Johnny
Rotten,
Rotten.
Throbbing Gristle and stuff.
I'm pretty sure I remember Johnny Rotten talking about the ARP Odyssey at one stage. I'm pretty sure he did.
Yeah, it was just
he
a
liked
matter
a lot of the sort of early 70s bands.
Yeah.
The early 70s sort of, you know, rock bands.
Yep.
For me, it was the same old story.
You know,
too young,
rock,
didn't have any money to get a synth, and none of the other band members were into it.
Well, Joy Division used to be a punk band.
Oh, yeah. I know.
You know,
it's like, since then,
I think they were actually called Warsaw. But what they were originally called Warsaw. Yeah.
But that's the concept of post-punk. It was kind of this. It fused a little bit. There was definitely punk elements as they kind of moved, you know.
And then they got the ARP Quadra.
That's right. But as you said,
and then Love Will Tear Us Apart.
Oh man, I played a cover of that. That's a great song to play live because it's so simple, and then it hits that guitar part, you know, which is kind of like the chorus. You know,
yeah.
And I gotta tell you, when I played it, like a lot of times, if you play a cover, you get it. You're like, holy cow!
There's a bit of a punk feel to it, don't you think?
Yeah,
there's definitely a punk feel to it.
It's a great
that intro.
song.
That intro is definitely punky. You know,
just seeing Joy Division play though, it was oozed punkness.
So if
you know what I mean, like just the attitude they had.
If you hear the Paul Young version of
violence, absolutely.
If you ever listen to the Paul Young version of Love Will Tear Us Apart, he's taken all the punk out of that, and it's a completely different rendition, right? You know, there's some other covers of Love Will Tear Us Apart that some of the American covers have really punked into it, like they've made it more rocky, and in some cases I actually really enjoy it because they've trashed it a bit more, which is probably, you know, in a way, it's kind of a bit of tongue in cheek with that song, right?
Yeah.
Because if you think about what the words, ironic, right? To trash it a bit.
Ironic.
Yeah, it's ironic. Yeah.
Very. It's
and those
an ironic title and an ironic really sentiment. Good. It's like
you know, they're really good, those albums. The songs are good, and actually I like the production on both of those Joy Division albums.
They're really passionate. They're passionate. They're intelligent.
Very dark.
Yeah, it's just got all the good stuff.
But I mean, but Curtis could write just about his own life. He'd have pages and pages and pages just to write about his own life. The amount of crap that guy had to go through. He had epilepsy. He had relationship problems. He had drug problems. You know, he could just write about his every day. And people would be like, "Wow, that's really cool," and that's just his.
Yeah, when you hear the darkness
life.
in that stuff, that darkness was real in those, those tapes. It's not. He wasn't pretending by any means. Yeah, it's great stuff. A lot of people don't like it. A lot of people say, "Oh, I love New Order. I don't like," and I go, "Yeah, I get it." But
Daren, have you been to that part of Manchester where they used to play?
Not for a long time, but I going back quite a few years.
What's that?
Yeah.
It's called the something room. What was it called? I'm having a mental blank. It's the something room.
Oh God.
Was that the place in 24-hour Party People
Yep.
you're talking about? Yeah.
It might be. Yeah, it's the place where they first kind of started playing live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can see it.
Well, the factory was
I
the
can picture it as well.
the higher center. Yeah.
Oh no, the Hacienda. Sorry, I was just
Hacienda.
realised what you're talking about. I have been to the Hacienda twice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Both nights that I went to the Hacienda was it was empty. It was cold, and I can't remember about which bands I went to see. Actually, it wasn't Joy Division.
Well,
It
New
was
Order
cold,
played there,
and
didn't they? As
Yeah,
well.
but
yeah.
it was actually much later. It was before.
Yeah.
It's before it had its resurgence with when the Happy Monday thing and the Manchester thing happened. It was way before that, and it was dying on its arse as a club.
Well, it was a punk
And I
club,
went,
wasn't it, originally?
I don't know. It was just the design of the place was really weird. I kept tripping up over. They had these bollards everywhere, and I kept tripping up over the damn bollards trying to get to the bar.
Interesting.
I think
I don't
I think
remember
went to see
bollards.
Q-tips there. Yeah, there's bollards.
It was
There was bollards all
yeah,
on the
it
dance
was-
floor.
Oh, really? I don't
Yeah.
remember them.
It was.
Yeah,
It's hard to explain. It's a bit like sort of. It was very industrial, sort of.
it was. Yeah, lots of
A
yellow.
cross between a
and
warehouse
white
car park
paint
and yellow
Yeah.
high-vis stuff.
Yeah.
And,
But it was
Yeah.
cold in there. And it was cold because there wasn't many people in
Oh,
there. It was
aye.
probably about 20, 30
Well, they had
people.
to. What,
I could, if it was
they had to
full,
hose
I
the
could
place
imagine it
out
was
after every
absolutely
gig, didn't they? Just
Yeah.
about.
you know,
With a big, massive fire
but,
hose. Get rid of all the vomit and piss and stuff that's in there.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
well,
Yum.
it went up and down, didn't it? It was like,
Never
like,
mind the bollard.
It did,
It
yeah.
had its moments.
I
I
like
think it was
that.
more
It had its
iconic
moments,
once
yeah.
it
very good.
closed.
I think you're right. Because what
No,
originally
as soon
was
as it closed,
was it
it
a
became
boat? It was a boat warehouse that they took that they modified. So it's a big space.
Yeah,
space that I
yeah.
remember.
Because the canals in Manchester now, it's very.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, there's nothing there now. It's just apartments.
Yeah, it's just
area
flats.
and
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
flats, yeah.
I can remember walking down the street because the door was around the corner. Remember that?
Is
going in.
the factory still there? I think the factory's still there, isn't it?
Well, the factory was in several places. At first, it was a club.
Oh, did it move?
Yeah.
It did move.
Withenshaw, was it at Withenshaw? It originally started as a night
Not
somewhere.
where. Yeah, the
I
factory.
never went to
I
any
don't,
of the
it's not.
factory nights.
I don't know. It's
Yeah.
still there actually.
No.
But yeah, like you say, it was sort of in many places.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's still there.
I
Actually,
mean, I remember seeing because you probably didn't see you won't have seen it outside the UK, but there was a TV program which Tony Wilson did called "So It Goes." I don't even think necessarily it was shown in the South, but and not many people really watched it. I used to watch it every week, really. But they had Joy Division were on. They had the Sex Pistols on. I think was first TV performances of the Sex Pistols, and they had really unusual bands because he would just pick bands to play on this thing, and it was great. I mean, it may even be on YouTube now. So It Goes as a TV show. It was brilliant.
I remember this place I went to, and this is just off the top of my memory. I can't even remember if it was the factory or maybe I'm getting it mixed up with some other place. I don't know. It could have been a different venue for something, but it was like this corner brick building, and it had this double wooden door. I think the door might have been like a green color, and then you'd go in there, and that's where the main club was basically. But upstairs was where they did the recordings. Am I thinking of the same place?
I don't know. I mean, certainly. I mean, the Hacienda was on a corner down a hill. You used to come down.
Yeah,
a hill
yeah.
To it, and
It's
it was on
down a
the
hill,
corner.
so it might
Yeah.
have been the Hacienda.
I never went upstairs. I was only, like I said, the two times I went, I was just downstairs in the.
I might be thinking of two different places and merging them in my brain. You know, it's a long time ago
Interesting.
when I went there.
Paul Holmes has just said about watching 24-hour Party People. Yes,
yeah.
Watch 24-hour Party People, but watch it with Tony Wilson's commentary. It is hilarious. It's absolutely brilliant. So you sort of, in that case, you probably need the DVD version. But I have got that, and it's absolutely wonderful. He's so great. He's Tony Wilson.
Yeah,
wonderful.
I've got a couple of old I've got a couple of old VHS videos of Joy Division where it's like their fanzine type things that they put out, and there's like footage of Curtis, doing vocal exercises in clubs, and they're doing jams, they're doing warm ups. It's pretty cool. I need to get them back out and digitize them. Because they're you could probably still buy them. That it was stuff that you could buy back in the day. Like when videos were things that people bought on VHS. That is.
Check YouTube first, then.
Yeah, it's probably already been up on YouTube.
It might already be scanned in, but you might have a better quality version. There's quite a lot of really poorly scanned in stuff on YouTube.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap up the show because
cool.
I've got to get up in 6 hours.
Lovely. Not me.
No.
6 hours.
You'll be awake for another 6 hours, knowing you, Chris.
Not 6 hours.
Is there a pub tonight, Kent?
Yes, there is.
Okay, there you go.
Hey,
Woman will let you.
Awesome. In a couple of hours' time?
Yeah, a couple of hours time. Because I'm just about done with this CS80.
Yeah. I'll turn the computer on in the morning. I'll see if you guys are still broadcasting in the morning when I get
Yeah, we will be. Like.
All right, boys. Well, on that note, we've had a good show. Thanks, David, for joining us, and Kent, Chris, Ian, Andy, and Daren. Thanks, guys, and thanks, Chatties, for being part of the show.
You.
And we'll see you next Saturday, and obviously see you guys at the pub if you're going to be there as well.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Later.
See you, everyone.
Take care.
See you. Bye.